Five calories for this diet green tea from Wawa. It's honestly better than what I would have expected from a gas station. I hope Lewis is okay. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that works. I don't understand what that means. I have live streams dating back 7 years where I'm working on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve until 1 or 2 in the morning. That doesn't make any sense to me. Model 3, Organica before they went up in price by like 12K. That doesn't make any sense, Laser Cat, so never. No, Colin, I did not. Hello to the gentleman from Oklahoma. Have you heard about Hunter Biden's laptop? I did, and I did a video live stream about it 2 years ago. I'm kind of bored with that now. I don't know, that's kind of old news to me. Hello, Leonard French is here. Leonard, a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you very much for showing up to my random stream. What do you think of your conversation with Tim Pool and his podcast? It wasn't bad. I would have, I'll put this. Maybe, like, again, like instead of 10 minutes of Right to Repair and 2 hours and 20 minutes on other random culture war stuff, if it could have been like slightly inverted, but it is what it is. What I was looking to do is plant a seed, and that's what I do anytime I show up on these shows, whether I'm talking with National Review and American Conservative or the New York Times and Vice, whether I'm talking with Crystal Ball and Sam Cedar or whether I'm talking with Tim Pool. I'm really just looking to plant a seed in the minds of people that may not know this as an issue or understand it as an issue and try to get them to think about it. And if I planted a seed, then I did something good. Thoughts on the new Apple products with software blocks that change in the SSD. And what I really like to hear what the reason is. I would really like to hear what the reason is. But honestly, I was going to do a video on it, and honestly, the reason I didn't is because I don't feel like there's anything more that I can say. Like you guys know what I'm going to say. You know what r/Apple is going to say about what I say. I know what I'm going to say in response to what r/Apple says in response to what I said, and I know what Apple's going to say. So it's really just all played out at this point. Like the people that are going to say that that's okay are going to keep saying that that's okay regardless of what I say. The people that think it's unacceptable are going to say it's unacceptable and stop buying the product. There's really not much that I can do there. Would you consider having Larry Sharp on for more podcasts with other New York City influencers? He's going to need all the media he can get in 2022. Absolutely, I'd love to. I just don't think my channel would really do anything for him. This channel is pretty much dead. I mean, there's not really, like, again, when this channel used to have 80,000 subscribers, I would get 600 live viewers a video, sometimes 1,200. So I would get, let's say, 600 on the board stuff. I would get 600 live viewers on the board repair stuff, and I would get 1,200 to 2,000 live viewers on stuff that was just me randomly talking. And that was back when you have to understand, that was back when my channel had about 80,000 subscribers 6 years ago. Now, with 1.7 million subscribers, I get 176 live viewers. So it's like, I don't really see how there's much that I'd be able to, I like Larry Sharp. I think he's a good dude. And even when I disagree with him on a particular thing, I like the thought process that he uses to come to a solution. And I like the fact that he's actually thinking to try to come to a solution. I respect him a lot for that. But I don't think that I'd actually be able to benefit him in any way, shape, or form, given that this channel has virtually no viewership. How is the good fight about Right to Repair progressing? Good and bad. So the good is it's getting noticed more. The other good is that there is an agricultural right to repair bill that was presented federally that actually has a decent chance of going somewhere. The downside is that in Maryland, it got absolutely trashed because somebody claims that I did a video that was racist 2 years ago when I pointed out that the bill does not include source code and that viruses do not come about simply because somebody has access to source code, and that got killed there. And in Washington, on the last 2 days, everybody was spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt to the legislators, and all the Republicans had voted against it anyway. So those 2 states kind of went down for the count. But we're still working in Minnesota, Missouri, Illinois. Actually, never mind. Illinois kind of got messed up. We were going for just medical there, but that didn't go as well as I had wanted it to. And what would you say was the most productive seed for Right to Repair you've planted by going on someone else's platform? I honestly don't do much work going on other people's platforms, so I don't think have had that much of a maybe on Linus. But the thing is, when I did a video with Linus, I wasn't talking about right to repair. It was really just a goofy video of me trying to solder a PCH onto a 2936 board and it not working because I grabbed some piece of crap board from the bin. You spoke to 35K people. Did you post video or audio of that? That was Tim Pool's show, Timcast IRL. He had 35,000 live viewers because his channel is actually not dead. Let's see. Unfortunately, live in Massachusetts and can't use the features of my new Kia Sportage because that process has not been worked out. Yeah, that is sad. Something we should be worried about regarding right to repair in Europe. I don't know. I don't live in Europe. I don't follow it much, what's going on in Europe. I'll visit New York City this summer. I was wondering if I could just drop by, say hi, and maybe even drop off a few donor machines. Sure. Yeah, thank you. All my fellow Europeans are donating money to the Ukrainian government, even though their president banned 11 opposing political parties and revoked the licenses of all non-state news organizations. I don't know about that. I haven't read about that. Tragic that actually thinking alone is comparatively commendable. It honestly is. I remember you mentioning you do martial arts. Do you still train? What style? No, I haven't in a year. I fell off the bandwagon because that's a long story as to why I fell off that bandwagon. I did something very stupid, and it stopped me from being able to focus on a lot of different things that I was doing, and that was one of them. Is there anything we could do to support right to repair in other countries? UK here. Get other people to care about repair. That's really what I tell people. Get other people to care about it by getting them personally invested. The way I try to get people personally invested is I show them how to fix their own things so that they could save money. And I also show them how they could run repair shops for themselves. I mean, you know, I don't hide info on this channel. In the early days, I got a lot of crap and people saying your business is going to fail because you don't do this, that, or the other that you're supposed to do to make money. I've never believed in hiding information. You know, I could have put out 90% of what I put out, but just left the last 10% out, which was the information required for you to actually reproduce what I do, and I never did. I just put all of it out there. You know, if somebody used to make 30K a year, and I don't know, now they make 80, you know, 60 or 80 or 90K a year, and they can do it from home, that person is going to be a supporter of everything that we do. Because it's not about the bumper sticker. It's not about asking them to subscribe. It's not about anything, because I've given them that sense of personal investment in it. So try to get as many people as possible personally invested in it. And the rest of the political process and the rest of the, you know, how companies design their products, I think that will work itself out. But you have to have that base of lots of people that are actually personally invested, not just people with bumper stickers and hats. Just showing support for the channel with a drive-by super chat. Thank you, AJR. I really appreciate that. Did you see my post about Dino putting DRM in the rolls of tape? Yes. I did a video on that a few weeks ago, but my channel is dead, so nobody probably saw it. Greetings from the Netherlands. Worldwide support. Thank you. Love the work you do. Now American, but you are industry leading. Let's hope it gets better, not worse. I hope so. When you go live, ask your viewers to share the notification and always get notifications when you're live when you post. I don't know how you do that. I hope you are well. Thank you. I hope you are well too, Catherine, and I also hope the best for your kitties. YouTube is probably shadow banning you because you don't tell the Globalist 9. No, I mean, listen, I could tell myself that. That would be a hardcore cope. I think the reality is just that I'm kind of boring and I never was really that interesting to begin with, and that 1.7 million subscribers is a complete anomaly. And now it's kind of reverting back to the mean where it should be, which is nobody noticing this stuff. Power Machine G4 with a whatever the hell that is and a Northbridge that accepts more than 2 gigabytes of RAM. Build a cool Franken Mac and show us. Love to see it. I've not really done much in terms of Franken Macs. It's honestly hard enough just to get the normal stuff to work. With just it's hard enough to figure out the new machines in general. Haven't caught your videos for a while. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. I am trying to do well for myself. You check out cherry blossoms here in DC. I did, and they are pretty. Welcome to DC even temporarily. I recently moved to Alexandria myself. Cool. Do you consider Chicago as a potential place to move? No, absolutely fucking not. Why would I go out of the frying pan and into the oven? Like, why? No. No. He didn't ban opposition parties. He banned minor parties that were colluding with Russia. He could have lined them against the wall and executed them as traitors. Huh. I haven't really read about that. Your chest gets bigger and bigger every time I see it. Please fix my motherboard. What the? Yo, you think I'm really that cheap? You think I'm going to fix your motherboard for $1? Sorry, that's not going to happen. If I'm going to degrade myself on stream, it's going to be for more than that. Have you read my short story? Side note, I'm working on a new manuscript that has someone trying to repair an electronic device. It's kind of comical. I've started to, but I did not read the whole thing. And honestly, I need to make some time for that. I wound up driving here, and by the time I got here, because of garbage traffic, it was like 3 in the morning, and I had to be up at 8 the next day. So I have to catch up on my sleep. I admittedly should fall asleep right after I do the stream. You do any pro audio engineering technician stuff? I have not done anything like that since 2009 to 10. That was a lifetime ago for me. Have you seen the new EU law regarding replaceable batteries? Yes, I have a video on it from a week and a half ago, but unfortunately dead channel. So let me see if I can show you. It's very interesting. I get a lot of people that ask me about things that I've commented on, and it makes... let's see. Where is that video on batteries? I had a video on batteries here, didn't I? Gosh. Let's see. Here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. So this is it. Anybody who's interested, EU Parliament looking at rules on replaceable batteries, and I linked the piece of legislation if anybody is interested in what I thought on that. Are you tempted to get into tractor repair and maintenance? Yes and no. Again, like if I screw up a repair of a computer, whatever. Somebody's not going to be able to, I don't know, jerk off to Pornhub that day. If I screw up a repair of that, somebody dies. I'd have to be much better at it than I am right now. And by better at it, I mean first I'd have to know how to actually use the product, which I don't. Seeing any boost from being on the podcast last night? No, I wasn't really expecting a personal channel boost from that. I was expecting to plant a seed that gets other people to realize that right to repair matters, and see where that goes, to get a wider audience for that. In terms of a boost, I used to have 600 to 1,200 live viewers when I had 80,000 subscribers, and it looks like we are under 300 live viewers with 1.7 million. So that ship has sailed. This channel is a dumpster fire. But I do think that if even 10% of that audience understands what right to repair is and kind of cares about it in a way that they didn't, that's 3,500 new people. So in that case, it was most certainly worth it. What part of DC are you staying in? I am staying in the part that is about 1 mile away from the Capitol with a bunch of tents and a little mini city of homeless people in the roundabout outside. I kind of wonder if they have the same homeless scam going on here that they do in New York City, where you have a homeless shelter that is a nonprofit that was started by the governor that has an executive director that makes $400,000 or $500,000 a year, where they bill the city $3,500 to $4,500 for rooms that look like prison cells so that nobody uses them. I haven't looked into DC's homeless scam to see if it's similar. Personally, I believe that when things get more and more expensive due to inflation, can actually push more and more people in the direction of unauthorized repair instead of buying a new one. I think that's the case. However, at the same time, there hasn't been a lot of there's been inflation in cars, real estate, groceries, stuff like that, gas, obviously. But I haven't seen much inflation in the ThinkPad, the MacBook, the Acer Aspire, and stuff like that. I actually wonder if inflation occurs everywhere else to where employee salaries have to continue going up. Will that result in there being less repair shops if the prices of technology stay here, but people's salaries have to go up? Will it be less economically viable to actually run business like this? We're all in the same boat as far as right to repair, but I think it would help to have a New York City tenant hand out cupcakes at hearings. That or bribes, but rent in New York City is already water torture. Ease. Yeah, it's interesting. We wanted to replace the battery on a legislator's iPhone to show them that it's not dangerous, and they said I actually can't accept that because that would be considered a bribe. And I just find that interesting that you could give a $3,600 campaign contribution or a $3,300. Again, an AT&T lobbyist like Kim Roback from Mueller Roback can give over $3,000 to Bob Christ, and then the same day that he gets that money, he cancels a meeting with us. Isn't that funny how that works? But if I replace a battery in the senator's phone with a battery that literally costs $5, that's considered bribery. It was a Republican senator in Tennessee in 2018. I forget the name. Jessa would know. Jessa and Chris Long would remember, but we weren't allowed to do that. We wanted to show her all the lobbyists say this is dangerous. I'm going to do this right in front of you and show you how not dangerous it is. And she literally just said, I can't accept that. That would be considered a bribe. Whatever. Maybe a cupcake would be considered a bribe too. Thank you so much for your video on Future Motion. It's made a big difference to the one-wheel community in Future Motion. And noticing, do you have any further advice to advance the cause? Tell all your customers every single time, Max, every single time you fix something for one of those customers, let them know this is how close you were to not getting a repair. I gave us a shitty speech in the prepaid wireless expo in Vegas in August of 2021. And my speech was, you need to let every one of your customers know this is how close you were to not being able to have a repair. Just the same way in 25th Hour. Once he escapes, he tells all of his kids, every time I watch you fix a motherboard, I pretend I'm under the table giving you what the... I'll take your dollar, but get out of here with that shit. The thing is, you have to kind of, like, at the end of 25th Hour, Ed Norton's character, I'm going to spoil the movie, by the way, so if you don't want one of my favorite movies spoiled, hit mute. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm going to assume you hit mute if you don't want a spoiler. You know, he tells his kids the entire story of everything, and then he tells them, this is how close you were to not happening. Do that to your customers. This is how close you were to not getting your data, to not getting your stuff. Make it personal to them. Make it matter. Again, it's not about a bumper sticker. It's not about having a Twitter hashtag or any of that shit. It's about people feeling personally invested because they are. So Mac people can keep watching Chatterbait. I've never used that before. A bit of shameless self-promotion does wonders in growing your channel. This channel's kind of dead. When is Drunk Lewis going to come back? You know, I've been driving a lot recently, so there's less opportunity for that. There's been a little less opportunity for that, you know. Thanks, I'll check it as a hardcore user of Dymo. I'll check it. Yeah, I have a Dymo 450 and I love it. It's just I cannot replace it now because if I replace, I'm not buying a label printer that only allows me to use their labels. Like, fuck that. Greetings from Germany. Aside from right to repair, what kind of regulation do you think would might even do you think would or might even do hinders new repair shops from existing? Let's think. I don't know the names of the regulations. I know, like, for instance, whatever's going on with customs to where they get, where, how do I put this? I want to make sure I get this right, but I also want to make it short enough that I don't skip over the next question. If you have an iPhone and you're in China and you take all the pieces out of it and they all have Apple logos on, it's an iPhone that you actually bought at an Apple store, not some, I don't know, somebody put a fake Apple logo on something, and all that stuff gets shipped. Son of, how do you get started? All right, I have a 1-hour video on how I got started. 1 second. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to give you a link to something right now in the chat. That's going to answer your question. It's literally 1 hour long, but it's going to answer your question. Okay, so the fact that yeah, I just posted in the chat. So the fact that if somebody has used devices or recycled devices in China or Taipei and they ship it to me, Continental Extreme Contact DWS06 Plus, I think. I'm 99% sure. If you have those items and you have if you take the parts out of it and then you ship it to the U.S., they can seize it and say, "Oh, this is you're not on the list of approved vendors to get something with with these logos on it. So you're just you're not going to get it." It's assumed to be to counterfeit, and that's just kind of lame. What do you think of people calling for nuclear war with Russia over Ukraine? I think nuclear war would end really badly for a lot of people that really don't care about this conflict. When I say don't care about this conflict, I don't mean it in an insensitive way in terms of I don't care about people dying, I don't care about people being displaced or hurt. I mean that there are probably a lot of people in Russia that don't hate people in the Ukraine or don't care enough to pick up a gun or a sword or a tank. And there's probably a lot of people in the Ukraine that don't hate Russian people enough to care about this. Like, there's a lot, again, like when you go to when you have countries that are doing stuff like this, sometimes. Hi, Lois. Hope you're having a great day. Do you think EVs from China, from companies like Geely, are going to change the market in terms of affordability? Affordable high range, or will we still have to wait longer? Let's see. Geely. I think your average person just wants to kind of live their life and is not that. I don't think that your average citizen in Russia is really excited to invade Ukraine, Okay, I'm loading their website, but it's kind of slow. What's your current bench press max? Have you thought about starting an OnlyFans so that you could teach motherboard repair shirtless? No. And I believe my max is anywhere from 285 to 290, depending on the day. Let's see. Travel 500 kilometers in one charge. The future now. Okay. How do I buy? How buy? Cars, technology, design, about media center. Is this real? Can I buy this? Can anybody buy this? Anyway, that's no idea. Do you have any tips? I'm looking around at job changes, but I have really limited knowledge of what kinds of work new industries are popping up. Worked in cooking, logistics, and marketing, but I have no idea where to start looking. When it comes to changing jobs, I'm the worst person to ask. The entire reason that I created my own company, and that's what one of the things I went over in that how do you start video that I linked in the chat about 90 seconds ago, is that I was never able to get a real job. And because I was never able to get a real job, I started my own business and tried to make one of my own. So I can't really help you in getting a job with somebody else because I was never able to convince somebody else to hire me for a job that actually paid something decently livable. I kind of had to make it on my own. Watch that video that I linked in the chat. Got an iPhone 13 Pro with a broken camera lens. Genius Bar quoted $700 for a back housing swap. What should I do? There are places that will replace it, that will replace just a piece. It's a pain in the ass. Like, it's not fun. It's kind of annoying. But there are places that will replace just the camera lens. I would look for one of those. Have you looked into Tennessee? Yeah, I drove through Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Nashville and Franklin in the autumn of last year. Can I get a discount on logic board repair training? No, I honestly don't even want to be doing it at the price that I'm charging right now. I think I undercut Jessa. It honestly doesn't make any sense unless it's a full class. And most of the time, it's only one person winds up booking it. So the amount of time that Paul or Chris spend teaching the student is actually... the amount of money that I wind up paying Paul to teach the student, they could have made more money just fixing boards for the business. So I'm honestly debating even keeping that up to begin with. Because with Jessa it makes sense because she gets literally a full class every time if 8 or 10 students. With me, the last 3 times we've done it, we only had 1 student for the entire week. So I mean, you can't cancel on them just because it's not their fault that only 1 person booked, but it really winds up not making any sense, and I kind of wonder why. Geely is the company who bought Volvo and brought it back to life. They're now starting to sell in Europe and Israel, and I ordered the Geometry C, not yet available in the U.S. Well, once it's available in the U.S., we'll see. Will you be making any cameos on Rich Rebuilds or Vice Script Garage soon? I don't have any plans. Do you have a new channel now? No, I have an old and dead channel. No inflation on cheese, though. Don't fucking remind me. Do you miss Trump? Not really. I don't know. I don't sim for presidents. Is a gallon of gas more than 1 cup of Starbucks coffee yet?
Oh, sweet mercy.
Hey, crazy bastard. Haven't checked in for a long time. Are those gray hairs? Yes. Hello, Dana. Yes, these are gray hairs. Many gray hairs. Look at them. Look at them. They're everywhere. Is there any particular reason why you stream on YouTube instead of Twitch? I stream on both, but in spite of how bad the numbers are on YouTube, they are actually worse on Twitch. Let's see. Inflation is an American word for greed. Sorry, that is just how it is. I don't understand why you're apologizing. I mean, I wouldn't apologize for that. I would apologize for just having an overly simplistic view of the world. Why does New York smell like raw sewage? I don't think it smells like raw sewage. I think it just smells like pollution and occasionally piss. What do you think about Future Motion continuing to put warranty voided for move stickers on the one-wheel products? It's been on every model. They've been informed by the FTC of compliance yet. Well, I think that's a test of whether the FTC has teeth and balls. If Future Motion is allowed to continue putting that sticker on their products and selling it, it means the FTC has no teeth and no balls, and at that point, we're just kind of screwed as consumers. If they are barred from selling them with that, or there is some sort of action taken where they are fined an amount of money that actually matters to them, then that'll mean that the FTC has teeth and balls. And I really do hope that the FTC has teeth and balls. I'm rooting for the FTC here, but we'll see. Again, it's up to all of you. And again, reportfraud.ftc.gov. That's reportfraud.ftc.gov. Maybe, again, they're busy. They got a lot of stuff they got to do. And maybe a part of this is having people like you that actually own the product send them information, show them the stickers, and complain. And we'll see what happens. There's really only one way to find out if the FTC is actually going to do something, or are you just there for show? I really hope they're not just there for show. But there's one way to find out, and you can help with that. Politics is WWE wrestling. A little bit. And the rest of your post is kind of really, really stupid, so I can't even read the rest of that. It makes me sad. Do you think... I'm 9 minutes behind in chat. I'll prep you a media shout-out cheat sheet for your next interview. When is the Arkansas radio interview? I forwarded you the email that I sent the guy. I just haven't heard back. But I forwarded you the email that I sent him. What about a carbon credit framework for repair-friendly companies instead of forcing it across the board? I don't know if that would do anything at this point. I think that would have done something in 1987. Maybe 1994. It's very far. The difference between Lewis and others in the space is Lewis doesn't try to entertain. I don't know. Sometimes I think I try to entertain. I think I'm just bad at it. How concerned are you that apartment managers will start buying up appliances like that microwave so they can be disabled if they're willing to punish renters? I don't think disabling your microwave is something that they'd be able to do as the landlord. I think that that's something that would be done by an idiot at the software company when they they make a typo and they send the firmware for a steam oven out to a microwave. How do you get your life dialed in? I'll answer that question when I figure it out. I'm glad you put more right to repair stuff out there. Thank you, Dragon Fruit. Planting a seed. What do you think of e-bikes having a speed limit of 15 miles an hour? That's garbage. Honestly, a speed limit under 30 is garbage. The problem is you're not going to be able to keep up with cars. And if you can't keep up with cars, what happens is that the cars will then try to drive around you. And what makes an e-bike dangerous is not getting hit by cars because you're driving in the street. What makes e-bikes dangerous is when cars get pissed off that you're not keeping up with traffic and they go around you. But while they're going around you because they're shitty New York drivers, they smash into you because people in New York can't drive for shit. Again, there's other parts of the country where they actually expect you to read things and learn and take classes. And then there's New York City where it's like, 45 minutes of instruction, take a fucking, go to the DMV, take a 10-minute test that just shows how to go and how to stop, and you get a license.
Oh, sweet mercy.
When I finish the chapter with the repair scene in it, would you be willing to look it over to make sure I didn't make a fool of myself with the character? Yes, I would. Do you watch Russell Brand's videos? No, I don't. I don't know. That's not my brand. That's not my. It's not my cup of tea. That's not my cup of tea. The way I see it, people who actively seek out conflict and warfare are more dangerous than the actual war itself. I think that an argument can be made for that. Why do you look like a crazy person? I don't know. Probably projection. You're probably out of your mind. And you just see it in me when in reality you're seeing a projection of yourself. There's that saying that most people hate in others what they see in themselves or what they don't see in themselves, but they hate people that are reflections of the worst things of themselves. So most likely there's probably something wrong with you that you're suppressing to avoid going to therapy or dealing with it. What do you think of Don Kedick? I don't know what that is. Donkey Dick. That's what that is. Well, bye-bye. Bye-bye. And next. I think my moderators have quit. All right, to repair dude, thanks to you. Good job on Tim last night. Oh, thank you. So look, we made some progress. See? Planted a seed. I'm just traveling, just traveling. Future motion is stupid. I wanted one reel in Romania, but with the repair policy, I skipped and got an N. I don't blame you. 14-inch MacBook Pro base spec, if not, what Windows laptop you recommend? I like the framework, and I like the T-Series, and P-Series, and X-Series ThinkPads. The new Mac has an NVMe SSD socket, and the SSD can be removed, but if you take it and replace it, the Mac kills itself even when replacing with the original SSD fails. I mean, that sounds like Apple. It's really weird, because I was going to do a video on it, and I didn't, just because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say that I haven't already said, I've said everything I have to say on this issue over the past 8 years, and, Apple market share goes up, their stock price goes up, and just nobody cares. So I just kind of feel like I'm speaking to the void at that point. Like I'm literally just wasting my time. Glad to see you are on Timcast. Hopefully be able to get other big podcasts soon. We'll see. Why do you think you were able to grow from your mistakes that would have stopped others? How did you learn? I think the reason I was able to grow from my mistakes is because I'm incredibly self-critical. A lot of people say that I'm too self-deprecating and that I don't give myself credit. And what I always look to do is I always look to assume that I'm at fault, like with almost everything that I do. And the reason I do that is because if I accept fault, then and I accept blame and accountability and responsibility, that means I have the power to change it by doing something different. If I blame somebody else or luck or circumstance or anything else, that may actually be true. It may be luck or circumstance or whatever else to blame, but that doesn't mean that there's a different approach that I can take. And I think that that constant blame of myself is the reason that I've been able to grow past the mistakes that I've made that would have destroyed other people. Favorite 80s song? Fletcher Memorial Home from Pink Floyd? I don't know. I kind of skipped over the 80s, to be honest with you.
Oh, sweet mercy.
It's going decently, Jim Hook. Unfortunately, many of the farmers that signed up did not actually show up, but such is life. Is there a text thread you recommend getting? Not off the top of my head. I don't know any. Have you felt that you become more cynical as people are drawn to drama and your complaints about the world are endless? I don't think so. I think I'm as cynical as I was in the very beginning. And I mean, I think everybody's complaints about the world will be endless if they just take a look at it. I think that there's too much for most people to actually even take in. Like, for instance, there's a lot to criticize about what goes on with foreign policy. I don't criticize a lot of it because I just don't fill my brain with a lot. There's a lot of things to criticize in the world, and there's a lot of things to complain about in the world. And if you look at it, it's literally endless. Do you believe learning disabilities like ADHD is something that you should disclose to your manager? I don't think there's a point to that. Like, if somebody told me they had ADHD, I don't know what I would do. Like, I don't know how to handle that information. What will repairability look like in 5 to 10 years? That 100% depends on what consumers do, what governments do, and what people that work at these companies do. Are they willing to say no to management when management asks them to do something that doesn't make sense or that is anti-consumer, or are they going to walk out? Are consumers going to buy the new product or say, screw it, I'm going to buy last year's? And are governments going to pass right to repair and things like that? Or are they just going to, keep ignoring it and looking for an excuse to listen to a lobbyist that gave them a few $1,000 in campaign contributions? Yeah, I don't know what I would like if somebody said I have ADHD. I would probably just stare at them like a dragon. Like, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist. I don't know what to do with that information. I don't know how to help you. There's nothing I really could do to help you, and I don't know if it's my responsibility as an employer to come up with a way to help you with that. Like, I'm not saying it to be mean. I just don't know what I would do. Like, if somebody's having an issue, if you say, I'm a little confused about this protocol on handling shipping, or I keep forgetting this thing, I could then say, okay, what if we come up with a system so that instead of you having to remember this, the computer does it for you? Let's come up with a solution to that. But if you just say, generally, I have ADHD, I don't know what to do with that. My Logitech vertical mouse broke due to high failure rate switches. With help, I replaced them with better ones instead of just buying a new mouse. Thanks for your right to repair work. We actually did that at a repair workshop. A few months ago, somebody brought in a trackball they liked, and we took the buttons, the sensors out of this shitty Dell stock mouse, and we put it in there, and it actually worked. But yeah, when it comes to the ADHD question, tell me what it is that is giving you problems at the job, and then I will try to come up with a tailored solution to make it easier for you to do your job. That's what I would suggest doing. Don't tell me you have ADHD. Like, not because I'm prejudiced against you, but just because I don't have the knowledge or the skills or the qualifications or the capabilities to really be able to help you with that. Hello, The Hit. I'm just kind of traveling around. I will consider it moved when I have purchased a house, a condo, or an apartment. Great podcast last night with Tim Pool. Thank you, Tim Sherman. What do you think of the new Apple screen with a fixed non-detachable power cable? I mean, like, I have nothing left to say. I don't know what to do. I think a lot of people don't come to this channel to learn about repair. They don't come to this channel to learn about right to repair or updates in states or any of that stuff. I think they come here to watch somebody get angry at a camera. And the thing is, I've run out of angry at the camera. Like, honestly, I ran out of angry at the camera for that like 2 or 3 years ago. There's none left. It's just, it's the same thing happens over and over again. You guys know what I think of it. It's just, is it going to change? I don't know. Do people care? The companies that make these things are doing better now than ever, and more people are copying them every single day.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Enjoyed seeing you on Timcast. I think Tim got some fresh, nuanced perspective from your visit and not just the right to repair. Hope to see you on more shows. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was very interesting. I looked at the comment section when I went on Sam Cedar's Majority Report, and the comment section for the interview I did with Sam Cedar was all that I'm in this alt-right racist Nazi. And then I went to Tim Pool's show that I did yesterday with him, and all the comments were saying that I'm this leftist, liberal New York City cuck. And it's just, I honestly don't even know what the fuck I am anymore. But it was very interesting to read the comments. But I'm glad that you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much. If you had to pick one thing to repair of all else, what would be your favorite thing to repair for fun, enjoyment, or ease?
Oh, sweet mercy.
Thanks for your time on Tim Pool. Sometimes I enjoy his podcast, but more when he's challenged. Right to repair transcends the orthodoxy of any side, and I'm not sure he fully understood that. Yeah, I mean, I think Sam Cedar was looking to bait me just a little bit into saying that it's all Republicans who are against it, and I think Tim was kind of putting it out there to bait me to say, yeah, it's mostly Democrat establishment who are against this. And again, I can cite things going back 7 years. I have been humiliated, embarrassed, laughed out of the room by members of every party. I was about to Google something, but I forgot. If I would like to repair something, I don't know. A Pultec EQP1A. That's a sexy sounding equalizer. But again, I don't even remember how to do that stuff. It's been 12 or 13 years since I did that regularly. Thoughts on vertical videos being the norm now? I don't mind vertical video as long as it's being posted to a platform that will allow it to be viewed properly. It's really annoying when I'm watching vertical video on a platform that won't allow it to be viewed properly. If I'm on a cell phone, again, if there's one person that's standing up and that's it, and I'm not looking at the background, then vertical video may make sense. I mean, again, people stand up like this. They don't stand up like this. But if it's going to be watched on a computer, or if it's going to be done in a way where even on my phone, when I full screen it, I still see bars, then that's annoying. With the new screen, if anything happens to your cable, you have to send the entire monitor to AppleCare. It's absolutely nuts. I wish I had the ability to add something to that conversation, but I feel like I've said everything that could possibly be said about this. I feel like I would just be repeating myself. And I do repeat myself a lot, but when do you want to hit up Trillium again? Says Matt R. I was going to, but they were closed the week that I wanted to do a meetup. I wanted to do another meetup there, Matt R. I thought it would be fun. I actually wanted to do it in early February when I heard that the bill got pushed out of committee. If you blame others, you'll never grow, no matter if the others made mistakes. As a boss, it is yet your mistake to have trusted a task who harbored someone who couldn't handle it. I'm not even talking about, can you shout out Freeside at Uni of Hull? I don't know what that is. Let me Google that to make sure it's not something horrible. Yeah. Freeside is a student-run and maintained Linux cluster within the Unix of Hull, University of Hull Computer Science Department, providing Linux administration experience. Shout out to Freeside at University of Hull. That sounds cool. Yeah, this isn't even about when I ask somebody to do something and they fail. I'm talking about when I personally fail. I try to avoid going over all the other things. And in my head, at the end of the day, I always come around to a way that I could have done something differently. And the people that I know in my life will always tell me I beat myself up too much. I take fault or accountability. Thank you, One Eye, for things that that couldn't possibly have been my fault. But the reason I always do that is because taking accountability for things is the only way that I give myself agency, and giving myself agency is the only way that I can potentially change it in the future. I want to feel like I have control over my own life, and the way that I give myself a feeling of control over my own life so that I don't wind up jumping off a bridge and offing myself and things go absolutely horribly wrong is by looking at what I could have done differently in every single situation so that I would not have had the negative outcome that I did. And again, sometimes I fail a lot, but I always try to look at what I could have done differently so that it doesn't happen in the future. Do you think there's hope for a headphone speaker whose membrane is slowly separating, causing it to decrease Olin volume? What's Olin volume? Headphone speaker whose membrane is slowly separating, causing it to decrease in volume. Oh, okay, it's a headphone speaker that's broken. I don't know. I'm sorry. I wish I had an answer to that. What is causing it to separate? Have you worked with climate change groups on Right to Repair? I think pushing the e-waste angle harder could get more media hype. I am not, but I funded a group that is. And I funded a group to try and build a coalition amongst climate groups or environmentalist groups around the country. I don't think I'm the person to do that, but I do know people that are way better than I am at coalition building, being social, getting out there to all those kind of activist groups and working with them. And that's something that we've been doing over the past year. So that task has been delegated to another individual at US PIRG, which is Public Interest Research Group, and they're doing great work. And I meet with them from time to time. And also I just missed what showed up on screen because I took too long to answer that question. Fuck. DC's homeless and homeless camps have been problems for years. The new pilot solution is to give them a 1-year housing voucher. That won't work. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to get fixed. Again, like, I understand people that are down on their luck that, are absolutely normal people in every other element. They just they don't have a couch to sleep on today. I don't know what you do with people who are kind of, how do I put this? Completely crazy, out of their mind, on drugs, and other, there's not much you can. I don't know what you do with that. The reason I put in the repair scene is the manuscript is my way of trying to show the value of repair. More people read fiction than a white paper on repair. Yeah, that is true. I don't even know if the FTC read my white paper on repair, but such is life when dealing with the government. Your response about creating a tailored solution to make it so an employee can do their job feels like the proper response to an employee with ADHD. Well, yes and no. The problem here is how much of creating of that specific system is going to be viable for a business that has a lot of other things on their plate that can also hire somebody else. But I think that at very least, if somebody says, here's what's wrong, here's the specific issue I'm having at the job rather than I have ADHD, at least that gives the employer the ability to do that, or if they choose to. Phone repair is incredibly boring after 10 years. Ironically, I think I'll have more fun, make more money breaking phones on YouTube. What do you think? Listen, man, again, Tech Racks... Tech Racks has probably made more money in 1 year than I will make in my lifetime. I'm just being honest to you. When people say, but Louis, you have 1 million subscribers, look at the accomplishments. Like, yeah, bullshit. So think about, oh, God. I'm just going to take your dollar and steal it. That's what I'm going to do there. So it depends. Like, again, now, are you going to be able to repeat what Tech Racks did? I don't know. You can try. Like, again, what I've learned from YouTube is stupid content is what wins. When I did that video of a subway grate, that got more people viewing it than... That's my best viewed video. I'm not known for Right to Repair. I'm not known for motherboard repair. I'm not known for talking about the repairability of Apple products or New York. I'm known for a subway grate. That is my best performing video on this channel. Me ranting about a subway grate at like 7 in the morning when I'm dead tired and salty because I haven't had my morning breakfast yet while I was on my way to a parking garage to pick up my car for a trip to Massachusetts. It really, the algorithm genuinely does reward really stupid content. YouTube won't let me message unless super chat. I don't understand why. I don't know. I'm sorry. Unless I banned you for a good reason, like the last person that tried to get me to say donkey dick out loud, in which case I'm not sorry. I am behind in chat by 10 minutes. Is it still possible to vote with your wallet with how narrow many industries are becoming? If you're willing to be a Luddite. So for instance, try to find a modern smartphone that's even remotely comparable to something like an iPhone or a Samsung S10e where you can get a schematic for it. Vote with your wallet. Find me a smartphone where you can get a schematic to the motherboard. Good luck with that. That's true for me. I'm into the too techie stuff, never been useful to me, but I do love the related rants and commentaries. And yes, I do learn stuff. Thank you, Tom. Or another example, like a television. Find me a modern flat screen television where you, as an end user or an independent repair shop, can just go to their website and purchase the schematic or download it. Good luck with that. You're just not going to... you're not going to find it. I mean, I don't think you are able to vote with your wallet in many of these fields because it doesn't matter which company you buy from. They all do this. Thank you so much for your efforts to support Right to Repair. Thank you, Jonas. And that's the thing. Like, I kind of wonder if we're pushing this too late. If we started pushing this 25 or 35 years ago, that's one thing, but it just seems like the frog already got boiled. What brands of laptops do you suggest purchasing? I want to see Framework do very well. I hope Framework does very well.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Thank you, Shadow. If someone is dumb enough to tell you they have ADHD, start talking very slowly to them until they realize their error. That's not really the way to deal with other human beings. That's a crappy way to deal with other human beings. Do you appreciate the retro computing community? The 1985 Amiga is very much alive and so is being updated. I don't know if I appreciated them. I don't think I've given them appreciation, but I appreciate the idea behind it. And if people want to maintain 30 or 40-year-old computers, they're really probably using a lot of the same skill sets that I'm using in my videos, and they're probably the type of people that would support right to repair. So I do support and commend them for that. This is the weirdest episode of Paul Daniels I've ever seen. Who's the new guy? I am not Australian. Do not mistake me for an Australian. That will, especially somebody from Charters Towers in Queensland. That will end in a fight. Scamcast all says, from what I've seen, all the comments in the video are positive towards you. The human brain is designed to focus on the negative, not the positive, when it comes to things like online comments about yourself. And unfortunately, I fall into that trap as well. So I read all the comments, but my brain remembers the negative ones instead of the positive ones.
Oh, sweet mercy.
On the headphones, if the air pressure increases, it gets louder. If the air pressure decreases, it gets quiet. Also, it sounds like plastic crumbling. What kind of headphones are these? Also, you can just put it in free chat. I'll read it in free chat. It's just it'll be read 10 minutes late because I'm still at 4:40. What are your thoughts on Apple's non-removable power cord in the latest display? Does it matter? Is it going to stop anybody from buying it? Is it going to change their mind? Does it honestly matter?
Oh, sweet mercy.
Is Lenovo still locking CPUs in their motherboard? I don't know. I have not followed that. I don't care what they say about you. You're pretty smart. Nah, I'm not that smart. I think I'd... The generic couch keyboard cat format has sort of become a meme in the FPV drone community videos. Can't you send me some of those? Lewis@rossmangroup.com. I'd like to read it. I'd like to read some of it. Maybe I wouldn't, but it's probably best I don't, but I'll read it anyway. I'm making 10 times the average salary in my country, and it's hard to save enough to own a home. I have no idea how people do this. I need to start a company and make like 3x that to feel comfortable. That's very effing depressing. What's your daily driver OS? Ubuntu Linux here. I'm not a troll, and this is the third live chat I've seen as live in Australia. By the way, I have ADHD/ASD. Apple Service Diagnostic? Paul Daniels was here in the Ville recently. I don't know, I haven't spoken to anybody in Australia that isn't a troll yet, so I don't know. But thank you. Howdy from New Mexico. Have you tried to get on the Adam Carolla show at all? I forget. I had a giant checklist last year, and I got to look through to see if he was on the list. I had about 20% of the people get back to me, and I got on the shows with about 10% of them. I just failed your Discord capture. Maybe I'm a robot. Possibly. Much love, share. Keep up the fight. Sharing, right to repair info whenever I can. Also, get plenty of rest. I will right after this video. I would literally intern for you for free. I don't have any internships available. How do you feel about Windows 11? That caused me to move to Linux when I saw that I couldn't use it on this laptop. This laptop has 32 gigabytes of RAM. This laptop has a solid-state drive. This laptop has a quad-core Xeon processor in it that has over 9,000 on CPUbenchmark.com. So I don't understand why I can't run Windows 11 on it. And so I just said, F that, I'm switching. That was the last straw for me. So I've been using Linux now for 4 months as my main daily driver at the store for my store computer, with my laptop, and in my apartment. Starting a channel is not that easy. Starting a channel is not... It's easy. Anybody can start a channel. It's just, making it successful kind of is more difficult. Let's see. I know this isn't your area of expertise, but have you seen or heard about Mark Cuban's generic drug company? No clue. What about your Pine phone? Watch my video of me trying to use a Pine phone 2 years ago, and you'll get what I mean. The Subway Great video is 9.1 million. Yeah, it's fucking depressing. I got to give it to you. You predicted Eli's return within weeks, and it happened. Some of us thought he's gone for good. He's never going to be gone for good. He's never going to leave YouTube. He will take breaks, but he'll never leave. This platform, it can be an addiction at times, and it's one of the reasons that I've never wanted to turn it into a career. Eli turned YouTube into a career for himself. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do. I'm just saying once you've done that and you really tie yourself into the system, it can become an addiction. But I'm happy that he took time away. You need it to keep your head straight. Love the discussion on Timcast. Kind of disappointed no Clinton appearance. Lewis on Joe Rogan. I wouldn't mind going on Joe Rogan. When a bearing wore out on my GPU fan, Gigabyte asked for my serial number, sent me a new one, and let me change it myself. Thanks for advocating for this choice. Also, that GPU has 2 fans with different cable lengths and tips, but the exact same part number. That's really cool that Gigabyte did that for you, and you should tell as many people as humanly possible that they did that for you and that they are a repair-friendly company. I want to make a section on repair.wiki that goes over companies that do repair-friendly things and not repair-friendly things with citations. I just have to come up with a format for it, and we're working on it in the Open Repair Discord. Rogan is full nut job these days. You know, I haven't listened to his show since April of 2020, I'll be honest with you. When he left YouTube, I did not follow to Spotify. But I don't really care I don't mind reaching out to nut jobs. I'll reach out to sane people, nut jobs. Listen, the more people that support Right to Repair, the better. And I want to have the widest coalition as humanly possible. Do you think rallying investors to start companies to provide competition would help with Right to Repair? I think it would, but at the same time, it would have to be at a seriously high level. So for instance, like everybody, when it comes to cell phones, a lot of people are using Qualcomm designs and Qualcomm chipsets. So even if they want to provide schematics, they may not be allowed to. It's not even about being a cell phone manufacturer. You need to be a chip manufacturer. You know, when it comes to Intel and dealing with reference designs, a lot of companies may be dealing with Intel reference designs for their devices, and they may not be allowed to give out schematics and whatnot unless they actually are making, their own silicon, their own chips. So I think it's going to be a lot more investment necessary than just simply starting a company that makes laptops or makes cell phones or something like that. It's really going to be getting it down into the chip level, and that's going to be insanely expensive because you're talking about reinventing the wheel from scratch to start competing. How often do you work out? Every day. Let's see. Rogan is a joke would hurt Lewis by association. I don't give a fuck about that. Anybody that wouldn't listen to what I have to say because they don't like who I talk to is honestly not somebody I want to associate myself with to begin with. Hey, if somebody's going to say, everything Lewis said, I agree with, but because Lewis said it to sitting next to this person, I hate him, I hate the movement, I hate Right to Repair, I want Apple to be able to determine who can fix my stuff, that person is not an adult in my opinion. They're not somebody that I'm ever going to be able to change the mind of. And if I make my decisions on who I will speak to based on that person, then I will avoid speaking to a lot of people. I will have a very, very small coalition. I will have a very, very small group of people who know anything about this, and it will always be something that's just tossed in the fringes. I will talk to virtually anybody about this, and I really have no problems with doing that. And you have to understand, if there really are 1.7 million people watching this channel, you guys are never going to agree on who I should talk to. It's just never going to happen. If I only speak to people that 1.7 million of you agree that I should speak to, then I will never speak to anybody. I would never speak to anybody because there's no way that you're all going to agree on who I should speak to. So just that just makes no sense to me. And it's not something that I would ever want to bother myself with. Anybody who says, I would have listened to your idea, but now I hate your idea, even though it's the exact same idea because you said it sitting next to this person, bye. Seriously, just bye. What do you think is more important for a new business, customer service or work quality? Both. You need both. You need both. There's no choice there. It's like, what meal should I skip, breakfast or dinner? It's like, no, eat your fucking food, eat your meals. I did Fedstin, and then I went back to Linux in December. You can use Windows 11 as a trick to it. But why do I want to have to deal with a trick? Like, I'm buying your operating system. I'm giving you money for an operating system. It's not like this OS is free unless I pirate it, but I haven't done that since like Windows XP with ETH0 when I was, 13 years old and didn't even have a credit card to pay for my operating system. But like the point is, if I'm paying you for the OS, I don't want to deal with tricks. Like, it should just work. Like, F you. F you for doing that. And I don't really game. I play Dota and Street Fighter 4, So there's not really a lot of gaming that I have to care about. Daso. Is there any Apple laptop that's worth buying now? If you want a machine that uses that operating system, that has that form factor, then that's on you. Again, this is all an opinion. I personally would not want to have a Mac, but there are other people that would love having a Mac. But switching off of Windows was something I've wanted to do for a while. That gave me the kick to do it, and now that I actually got all my stuff working, I have no reason to switch back. The one thing that was really difficult to get working was jack-off audio. Jack-off audio is a major pain in the ass. But I finally got some plugins that work, and jack-off audio works. So if I yell, I have a compressor so that it doesn't distort, and it also doesn't pop all your speakers. I got all the stuff I want there, and a little look-ahead limiter as well. It's beautiful. So I'm pretty much set, to be honest with you. I've used Linux since the 90s and found that Linux is great if your time is worthless. If you want to get things done instead of constantly tweaking and fixing it, it's not a great option. Yeah, there's a video I did 7 years ago that got a lot of shit. It was free as in free time. So they talk about free as in free beer, free as in free software, free as in to cost $0, and then there's free as in free time, where, I use my computer to do work. I don't want to fuck with my computer endlessly. And there are people, when they buy a car, they really do want to spend 5 hours every weekend tweaking it to try to, make it so that they can make it to the grocery store in 3 less seconds, or get their 0 to 60 time from 4 to 3.9, and they spend more time tweaking the car than they will ever save from the fact that it's faster. It's not about that. It's about the enjoyment of fucking with something for the sake of fucking with it and tweaking it, knowing that you did that. I understand and appreciate that. I just have no desire to do that anymore with my computer. None. This is a tool. This is a tool that I use for work, to get things done, to try and change the world, to try and run my business, to try and deal with my freaking New York State audit that's still going after fucking 7 months. But the point is, this is a tool. I don't want to mess with my tool endlessly. I just want it to work. And that was one of the reasons I went back to Windows. I switched back to Linux. I just bit the bullet and took a few weeks to go through all the things that I used to do in Windows that were just one click or easy or took 2 minutes. That took me hours upon days to figure out in Linux. I finally got it all figured out. I have saved this setup. I have imaged it somewhere else so that even if I fuck something up, I can re-image it back to where it was when it worked, and I'm happy. Rogan would be massive exposure for Right to Repair. Yeah, that's what I would really care about. Ever considered collaboration with Legal Eagle? I don't do a lot of collaborations. I'm not as social as I should be. I don't remember if I reached out to him or not. I got to check that list that I had. How did you learn your industriousness and perseverance? Were you born this way? Do you think it was a struggle or necessity for it, just mindset? It was probably the latter. My parents told me that I'm very stubborn and that I will do a lot to try and figure something out, and that but I think, I don't know. I think a lot of it just was the fact that I couldn't find a real job. So, when I'm sitting at work until 3 or 4 in the morning to figure out motherboard repair, in the back of my head is the realization that there's nothing to go back to. There's no, I'm just going to go on monster.com and get a job. I'm going to go on Craigslist or Backpage or whatever and find somebody that's looking for, an administrative assistant or an executive assistant or an office manager, and I'm going to do that. Nope, that's not waiting for me. It's like, I figure this out, I get really good at it, or misery and poverty for the rest of my life. Thoughts on the new unremovable power cord? Answered already about 5 times. What about adjusting patent law so that after a certain number of years, circuit designs become public domain? I don't know. I mean, I'm open to that, but I don't know if that would solve the repair problem. That may not be very truthful. I had the same issue with a fan, brand new 1660 Ti. They couldn't be bothered to send a new fan assembly. I actually had a few direct contacts. A Gigabyte? That kind of sucks. How come you have a 2-bedroom? I don't know. I sorted by lowest price in the particular area that I wanted, and this showed up. Oh, that's a dumb question. Get out of here. Talk to Alex Jones and Right to Repair. Yeah, why not? I would. I don't give a shit. Well, I don't have to agree with a lot of the shit that he says to be open to talking to him about an issue. I don't care. There's millions of people that listen to him. Sure, I'll plant a seed in the minds of millions of people by having one conversation. I would Absolutely, 100%. And that's the thing. If people have, if people hate me, but more people know about right to repair, I'd rather that than I have this perfect, untarnished reputation, but fewer people know about the subject or the issue. If there's a higher likelihood of me getting doxxed, of people throwing tomatoes at me when I walk down the street, of people saying fuck you, sending me angry emails, getting recognized in public negatively, but more people know that right to repair exists, more people care about it, more people support it, more people in their own personal lives get other people personally invested in this cause, I'll live with that. That's a fine trade-off for me. I don't really give a shit about my reputation. I don't like people to begin with, so I don't really care what they think of me. But what I care about is that the cause that I care about actually gets more coverage and noticed by more people, so that the next generation gets to follow in the footsteps that I did. I realized just how close I was to not being able to do what I do or create the company that I created. And I want the opportunities that were available to me to be available to the next generation. And if that means that people hate me, then I don't give a shit. A bunch of people hate me now, so it's not even really like it would be much of a downgrade. How are you today? I'm doing lovely. I'm a little bit tired. I had to wake up early. Went to bed late last night. Got back from that show around 1 in the morning, and I woke up pretty early, but otherwise, doing lovely. It is a sunny day here, and I'm happy. Thank you, Alexandria Customs. I really appreciate that. I am behind by 5 minutes. I would never ban you, McLaren, in F1 race, just because you like dogs more than cats. That's not a reason.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Thanks for the entertainment you've provided me with the last 4 years, truly. Thank you, Michael Will. What do you think is more important for new business, customer service or work quality? Asked and answered already. Stop trying. Don't ask stupid questions. No offense, but you need both. There's no choice. That's like asking, should I abuse my girlfriend emotionally or physically? Neither. Neither. It's not a question that matters. Can I ask your opinion on open source versus closed source? You'd have to ask a more specific question than that. Do not talk to Alex Jones. Oh, don't make me. Don't make me do it just because you told me not to. You don't tell me what not to do. Don't you tell me what not to do. I'm a rule breaker, baby. Don't tell. Thank you, Kevin. If you plant a seed in Alex Jones's mind, they'll spread it everywhere. 3, Haku the Pocky Eater. S is way too much fucking money. Honestly, the 3 is way too much fucking money, too. But you talk with Putin about right to repair. See, I don't know if that's on the top of his mind right now. That's the thing. What does AMA mean and name after your channel? Agree with your approach about finding support anywhere you can find it. Imagine if we could get across-the-board legislative support right to repair like there has been so far for daylight savings time. Yeah, again, that's what matters. When you have such a coalition of people that you can't ignore an issue anymore. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm really not into this whole bullshit of you're not allowed to talk to this group. You're not allowed to talk to that group. Fuck that shit. I'm not going to let anybody else wall me off from being able to represent what this is about to a new group of people. Because if I don't do that, then how do I know what you're hearing about this? How do I want to be able to have some level of control over what this group of people are hearing about an issue that matters to me. And if I say I'm not going to speak to them, I'm giving somebody else that control. I don't want to give somebody else that control. Screw that. People matter. Even people who disagree with me matter. I don't know of your pro-gun, anti-gun, or indifferent. How do you feel about right to repair up to firearms? They're a point of danger that shouldn't be crossed. I don't have enough knowledge about firearms. I am very pro-Second Amendment. I grew up in a city that only respects the Second Amendment for criminals. It doesn't respect the Second Amendment for law-abiding citizens, so I never really got into firearms. But I respect your right to own a firearm. I have no problem with you owning a gun of almost any kind. And again, I just don't, because of where I grew up, in the shithole that I grew up in, I don't really have enough knowledge about firearms to really really be able to give you an educated take on that. But I tend to support right to repair for everything. Please, where is your girlfriend, says Pascal. I am single, so my girlfriend is right here. My girlfriend is right here. This is what single people use as a girlfriend. Just dropping in real quick to brag that I just found out that my wife is pregnant. My kid is going to be an absolute unit. Love your show. Colin, props on you for having a kid by, I don't know, letting your seed get planted into something other than a Wawa napkin. I'll give you that. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. You must be a happy dude right now. When Vista came out, I was using 98 because a cool hacker with an electronics store on Long Island had written a fix to the VMM that allowed you to use more than 512 megabytes of memory. Ball Duct says, for 20 bucks, have a nice day. Thank you. I was having a nice day, and I will continue to. And thank you very much. Sitting here waiting for my pen testing course to ask why my midterm exam was given an overridden score for an open book exam. What does that mean? What character do you use in Street Fighter, Lewis? Sagat. What do you think about Facebook's supposed decline? I don't use Facebook very much. I've very rarely looked at some of the repair groups to try and recruit people to repair.wiki and find talent that I can pay to post there, but that's it. One of the things that really depressed me as I started running the nonprofit, thank you. I will take 3.42 volts, thank you. One of the things that's really depressed me is I used to think the problem was money, and then when I actually had access to money, realizing that wasn't it. Finding people to post on repair.wiki about modern devices that have high demand for repair, even for stupid amounts of money, has been incredibly difficult. Like, even when you're telling people, just name your pay, it's been actually very difficult. There's a risk being associated with Alex Jones. Some people on the other side will demonize Ross. Dude, that already happens. Who gives a shit? Look what happened with fucking C.T. Wilson in Maryland. So check this out. Like, I'm serious. Let's go over that comment. So people will demonize me, right? So I did a video about somebody who didn't understand what source code was. So this guy was saying that A, the right to repair is about source code. It is not. B, you're asking to release source code. It is not. C, that viruses are not just created out of nowhere, that viruses are created because source code is released. That's insane. Linux would have viruses every day, and people would have no ability to use the internet. If open source software meant you were more likely to be infected with a virus. He said all of this. So I did a video where I politely but critically said that he was wrong. That was this video over here. Now, after I did that video about which I think was honestly fair, I think pretty tame compared to my usual videos that I do on this channel. A lot of the times there's a lot of cursing, there is a lot of more. He did a video suggesting that my video was racist and in content. And that is over here. I will leave a link to this down below. I'll actually leave a link to both of these videos. So what I've learned is that this whole thing where I try to go along to get along, it doesn't actually fucking work, because if people want to slander you, they're going to slander you anyway. So what I would rather focus on is building the widest coalition possible so that I actually win, rather than this whole trying to be as nice as humanly possible, which results in losing. What 3D accelerator card should I buy for DOS? What? How the hell am I supposed to know? What, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I have no effing idea. Yo, you asking me the wrong question. Yeah, I'll post these two videos in the chat down below, so anybody who wants to can check them out. And yeah, like I learned the hard way. Like going along to get along, it doesn't fucking work. Is there any plans to do border pair classes in New Hampshire? None whatsoever, because I have no plan. I have not planned at all to move the business. I was looking at a place that I wanted to live personally, but I didn't look at moving the business. Also, there's been no demand for the board repair classes in New York City, so I don't see how I would expand that by doing more board repair classes somewhere else when there's no demand for them where they originated. I can't expand upon an idea that nobody's actually using as it is. Jess is kicking my ass with that. She gets like 8 to 16 students a month. I get between 0 and 1. She's killing it. I'm happy for her. I like when my friends that have similar businesses to me kick my ass. Like, again, Jessa Jones is one of my best friends on this planet. She's also a direct business competitor, and when I see her succeed like radically well, I am a happy boy. I'm a happy guy. How'd you learn about inventory tracking for business purposes? No comment. Will you talk to David Duke about right to repair? I don't think that there'd really be much utility to that. Rossmann needs to interview Amaranth on right to repair. You know, I don't think the audience would be focusing on right to repair. I think the audience may be mildly distracted. He is clearly for open borders POG. What does POG mean, and who are you referring to? That is confusing. Just dropping in real quick. I read that. I've been theorizing that Apple's forthcoming parts program will include fine print, avoiding the remainder of the warranty, exclusion from adding AppleCare after that. Thoughts? Well, exclusion from adding to AppleCare, I understand. It's kind of like I don't understand how you add AppleCare after you buy it. Like, I don't understand because then you would just be able to add AppleCare after you break something. The entire concept of AppleCare is you pay up front, but you have a lower repair cost down the line if you break it. Now, some people will never break it, and some people will. And you can't void the warranty. Again, that goes against Magnuson Moss. You would have to prove that the customer did something wrong when they went to fix it in order to do that. So that would be illegal. Now, again, this comes back to what I said in the beginning. Dude, I don't think you can fix America's problems as the president. I also first, when it comes to 3 core principles or tenets, I have no idea how to answer that. When it comes to how you fix problems as the president, I can't fix your problems. A lot of the problems that we have in the country stem from us from individuals that are not making the best decisions, or people that have done something screwed up or corrupt or whatever in some way, shape, or form. I don't think I can fix things as the president. Like, I don't think that there's, just one person that can get into power and make everything better. I think that people have to collectively make better decisions that make their lives better. And I think a lot of people need to be nicer, more generous, a little bit more kind to the people that are their neighbor. But I can't make people nicer. I can't make people less lazy. I can't make people, better human beings as the president. That's not really something you can do as one person. How do you feel about right to repair alongside the public issue of information preservation and information decay and degradation? I think that those are completely separate issues. The idea of information preservation, meaning that when you enter something into a form or you register on a site or you fill out an interview, that stuff just stays there forever, is completely separate. I think that the right to privacy and right to repair, while they tend to be supported by the same groups of people, they are very different concepts. But they both go around one idea, which is control. Who has control over you? The company, the government, or you? Those ideas both center alongside control. And people that tend to want less centralized control, or less control in the hands of people who are powerful, tend to be for right to privacy or right to repair. Since I'm not Lewis, I'll roast Wilson a bit more. He was in Army for a bit, so I'm guessing he ate way too much crap. Yeah, again, I really didn't roast him in that video. I don't think I roasted him in my video. Like, again, watch my video. You tell me if you think, do you think that I was really unfair? When you see how people talk on Twitter about politicians, I think that they're way meaner than I was in that video. But again, I didn't say it. These are his words. He said that my original video was racist. And this is the point that I'm getting to, is when people say, don't talk to that person, or people will say bad things about you. They say bad things about me anyway. I was blamed for why that bill didn't pass in Maryland. Me! Really? You fucking kidding me? I'll lose my shit if I go over that. But, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter how nice I am. It doesn't matter if I show up in a fucking polo shirt and khakis and a belt and I'm polite and respectful. If I point out that you are citing something that is not in the bill, that doesn't exist, then I get called racist. It doesn't matter. When people say you can't speak to this person because if you do, you'll get attacked. I get attacked anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm not going to play that stupid game. I'm not getting involved in that fucking game. Because the moment I get involved in that game, I start self-censoring and I lose. I'm not doing that. I am behind on chat by 10 minutes. Time to start reading. I can't keep answering the same question, Tez. It drives me nuts. Let's see. That question has been asked a million times. The napkin looks rough. It will probably cause chafing. Well, that's why we have this. This actually isn't mine. This is left in the room. Look at this. I swear to Christ, this is not fine. It was right next to the TV, so I thought I'd share. What is the most frustrating tax to comply with? All of them? We need to give people the example of caring about people and not politics. You're a good person in that. Hopefully. I once had some dude yelling insults at me because I disagree with his assertion that he needs to use a particular kind of electrolytic capacitor. That doesn't sound very nice. I am behind by 7 minutes. A napkin will treat you as well as you treat her. Depends. He didn't understand that my project required miniature caps. He told me I should be using a better full-size cap that wouldn't have fit my application. Why is he insulting you over that, though? I work repair in Austin, Texas. How do I convince my boss that solder work is the future of repair as more components become board level? Dude, if he's not convinced in 2022, then you got to find a new company to work for. Again, what I would do is this. Show him the cost of a MacBook donor board, and then show him what we charge on RossmannGroup.com to fix it. So what does the chip cost? Okay, the chip is like $2. The repair can be $200 to $400. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, is it not? Now, again, the money is going to be in whether or not it's profitable, how good of a tech are you? How much time are you going to waste on unfixable boards? How much time is it going to take you to learn everything? Because if you're good at all that stuff, you're going to make your boss a lot of money. But it's up to him. Again, if he doesn't want to put a basic amount of investment of a couple of $100 for soldering equipment, dude, you're in the wrong place. Got a new cat. She doesn't like greenies either. You and Oreo must be paid shills for Mars Incorporated. Guilty as charged. Yes, I am a paid shill for Mars Incorporated. They did send me a pack of free greenies once, and I was very appreciative. Admittedly, it wasn't me, it was Clint. But seriously, when Jason came to me and said, yo, we should consider doing hard drive repair, here's some stuff I think we should buy, he gave me a list, and it was like $15,000 worth of stuff. I just bought it. He had virtually no experience. I just bought it and let him experiment for a couple of months, and then Steve experimented for a year before we started offering anything. My favorite, a burrito, well, you can't put like 10 questions in one thing. Get out of here. And favorite food is a Lucha Lucha burrito, which no longer exists. Favorite color is blue. Favorite book is Jim Cam Start With No. But it only appears on the screen for 20 seconds, so you can't put 3 questions, and that's cruel. What was I just talking about? I was just talking about something, and I forgot. Can I rewind and listen to it? Is that cheating? Is that cheating? Yeah, I'm going to try and rewind and listen to my own stream. Let's see if YouTube will allow me to do that. Where are you? Here we go.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Thank you, M. One sec. I was on some. I think I had a good tangent that I was about to go on, but I don't know what it was. I lost track of it. I'm going to listen to my own stream and see if I can find it. If YouTube will allow me to do that. I was on some. How good of a tech? Oh yeah, here we go. So the employer thing. So if your employer is not willing to spend a couple of $100s on a fucking soldering station, he's never going to invest in you. You're never going to get a raise. You're never getting a promotion. You're not going to go anywhere. Like when Jason came to me with some basic shit, I'm like, yeah, sure, cool. Put together a list and why you need this stuff, and he did. I just bought it. And then anytime Steve says we need this tool, there's no fucking question. If Steve orders $15,000 worth of stuff from Ace Lab, I just go, okay, cool. Because I have trust in him that he's actually going to turn that into money. And if he doesn't turn it into money, let's say he makes a mistake, some shots will work, some shots won't. But you won't know unless you try. Thank you, Roger. And if your employer is never willing to make a shot, never willing to try, never willing to make a risk on anything, then he's going to get destroyed by everybody else who is. There's not a lot of future with that company. And above all, there's not a lot of future for you as an employee at a company that doesn't have enough respect or faith in you to be able to invest a couple of $100s in some fucking tools so that you can make them more money. I think that's insane. I don't know. I wouldn't want to work at a company like that. I would feel like I have no future. I would immediately start making a plan to start my own business, or start coming up with a framework on how I could compete with him and take his customers away from him at my own business if he wasn't willing to invest in his employees or his business. That's a business that's going to fail. That's just my opinion. Hey, Lewis, John Deere engineer. If you want to talk about deer farming or anything else, I'd love to sit down. Email me, lewis@fighttorepair.org. Caleb, this would be fun. I cannot fix America's problems as the president. A lot of this comes down to people having to be better people. I think I know the answer, but... What should we do about right to repair for household appliances? Same thing as with everything else. What is stopping you or your business from building your own phone out of generic parts? What generic parts? There's generic parts? I recommended your company to a friend who needs data recovery. They have 3 hard drives that need help. I don't have the time and the resources to deal with it. Well, hopefully Steve, Orhan, and Chris can deal with it. It used to only be Steve. Now it's Steve, Orhan, and Chris. I'm very happy to see that more people at this business are learning it and helping Steve deal with his queue. Good. Good evening, XPYR. Good to see you here. You tend to be a more tempered voice of reason in contrast to me rage yelling at the computer. I mean, rage yelling at the camera. So I always appreciate you having you here. Do you like OtterBox products? I don't really have a lot of love for their cases, to be honest with you. I'm supposed to, but I like Spigen. This case was about $8, and it's really good. It's thin. It is not just thin, but again, even if I drop it on the corners or something like that, I got really good protection. I'm a Spigen fanboy. Your comments regarding the frustration of an audit really hit home. I work as a CPA in California. Don't remind me. That's just... I've gained so many gray hairs from that shit over the past 6 months. When a debate is lost, slander becomes a tool of the loser. Not actually a Socrates quote, but should be. I agree, Red Scourge. It's not about your reputation. It's about not associating right to repair with not job propaganda. Yeah, but that's, again, like, right to repair is already associated with racism because one senator was salty. One House representative was salty. So it doesn't matter, because if somebody wants to do that, they're going to do that anyway. They're going to do it anyway. How many people here in chat are new Sims Lewis picked up from Timcast last night? I don't think any. Again, I used to have 600 to 1,200 live viewers on these videos back when I had 80,000 subscribers. At 1.7 million, I have 461. So, let's see. I use that lotion in Chicago EV winter. Just received an email from Terex to make heavy equipment. They have informed us that they are charging for online tech support on equipment older than 10 years. I mean, I can understand that to some extent. I'm happy for you. Inspiration, mental health, attitude, resiliency, and entrepreneur-wise. I don't know if I should be an inspiration, mental health-wise, but I appreciate the comment. I just bought 2 super chats, and neither of them allow me to include a message. Sorry, Roger. Anyway, great job in Timcast last night. Thank you. Saw you in Toonpool last night. Awesome to see you on there. Thank you, Texas. I thought it was particularly funny that a lot of the people in the comments section were calling me a New York City leftist. I found that very interesting. Just because after going on Sam Cedar's show, I had a lot of people calling me an alt-right, right-wing Nazi. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the fallout if I keep showing up on political shows. Definitely going to be interesting to see it. Have you gained a few pounds? I've actually lost 14 pounds in the past month. Actually, I lost the 14 pounds in 2 weeks, and I've just been maintaining keeping it off in the past month. Now to convince my employer I need a $2,000 Herman Miller chair. Good luck with that. YouTube Vanced is dead. I have never tried YouTube Vanced. When you transitioned from having you to actually having employees, what challenges do you face and how do you handle it? The biggest challenge is how to hire people that aren't idiots. Like the first tech I ever hired, he never plugged the DC-in board back in after doing a keyboard replacement, and there's nothing you could do. There's no amount of money that I could offer him. There's no amount of yelling that would work. Nothing would work to get him to do that. So customers would always show back in and say, "Listen, you did a great job in the keyboard replacement, but now it's in charge." And every single fucking time it was the exact same thing. Like just stupid shit like that. Finding the right people is by far the hardest thing, because you got to you have to find people that take pride in what they do simply because they take pride in what they do as a human being. This is going to come off really bad to the anti-work crowd. But I don't really care, and I don't mean it. I don't mean that you should pay people poorly. But what I mean by this is, at some point, it's not about salary. Some people take pride in their work, some people don't. And the people that don't do not care about their work regardless of what you pay them. You should pay people decently. You should pay people so that they can live. You should pay people something that is actually fair. But at the same time, the hardest thing is finding people that take pride in what they do. Because there's a lot of people that just do not take any pride in what they do. And it's very difficult to spot those people in a job interview.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Are you on a diet? Kind of. I don't know. I've tried to cut out a lot of gluten and a lot of the excess carbs. Not all carbs, just like the excess crap. You know, like when I eat, when you see some sort of snack that's like this small and it has 50 or 80 grams of carbs, it's just, is that really necessary? Because it bloats me a lot. If I'm trying to make around 6 figures and do something like board repair, what kind of education would help me get there? No clue, because I did not get any education to get here myself. Don't call us invaluable. He reads us occasionally. Mega Man, Mega Man, Mega Man, Mega Man, Sonic, Sonic, Sonic. That's Twitch chat for you. I will consider giving the Pine phone a try again, Peter.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Let's see. Hi, Lewis. I'm an engineer at Apple. I've worked in the M1, and I'm all with you on right to repair. Any idea how I could change something from within Apple? From my position, I have no influence on company policies. I start talking to other people at the company. I would start talking with other people that you work with and see if there's any way that you can get more people that you know on board. Do you guys talk there? Is there a water cooler that you walk around? Do you get to speak with your manager or other people or anything like that? Email me, lewis@fighttorepair.org. It would be absolutely great to have you as a contact. Because I don't have an answer right now, but I may have a better answer tomorrow. And if I do have a better answer tomorrow, I'd love to be able to answer it for you. Are you familiar with Rich Rebuilds? Yes. They inspected my car recently. Do you know before you take on a task that's beyond the scope of what you can do, or is it common to find out after it's been started? Sometimes. Good to see you healthy. Wicked winds on the East Coast tonight. I didn't see that. It's hard to when your employer's bottom line depends on your willful diminishment. I don't think that's true. Your employer's bottom line depends on upon employees doing good work, which depends on them being able, getting paid something that allows them to have some sense of dignity in the work that they do. It's not about constantly cutting down your employees. It's about bringing in as much work as humanly possible and encouraging them to do the best that they can. Oh my God, he actually read the emotes out loud. Yeah, and you guys are starting to notice now why I focus less on Twitch chat, because it's kind of silly. It's very silly, honestly. I noticed that familiar red thing. What ThinkPad are you using? Did you just imply what I think you did, Christian Iverson? We banned people for last year. I saw it. I saw you put an S in front of ThinkPad. I see what you did. I have a Tuber 43 with the passive-aggressive shade. And look, I caught up. Oh, I finally caught up. Can't keep answering the same question, Pascal. It's annoying. Let's see. Okay. This is a ThinkPad P50. You missed my 2 questions, so how is that possible? Maybe they sucked. You still looking for a state of residence, Lewis? Yes. I have an apartment in New Hampshire, but I'm not sure if I'm going to take that long term because a lot of New Hampshire is really falling. 2 things. A lot of New Hampshire is falling apart. There are a lot of areas where I drive through and all the housing and everything there just looks like it hasn't really been maintained for 30 to 40 years, and it's priced as if it's all new, but it looks like it hasn't been maintained for 30 to 40 years, but it's priced like it's new. And B, The weather there is massive seasonal affective disorder. I brush my teeth twice daily, sometimes even more. Now, your question didn't suck, SJS. I hit Control F. I just didn't see it. Sorry. Is potential something you look for when hiring someone? Yes. One of the richest men in the world started as a nothing but a child in the 40s. Anyone can make themselves one of the rich. That's the appeal of capitalism. It depends on whether or not you... I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if anybody can make themselves rich. But there's definitely a lot of opportunity to do something. I think that a lot of people say, well, no, not everybody who tries hard will get somewhere. But then what bothers me is they use that as an excuse to not actually try. And then once they have an excuse to not actually try, they give themselves a license to do what most people would want to do, which is be lazy and do nothing. And then they actually wind up coming up with the self-fulfilling prophecy of not getting anywhere. Self-fulfilling prophecy of not getting anywhere. Like there are some people, like for instance, there are people out there that started a company that does what I did in 2009, at the same year that I did. And they sold their company to AT&T, and they are multi-millionaires, and they've never used a soldering iron in their life. And then you have people like me that made a bunch of really bad decisions and also had some kind of bad luck. But the thing is, I never gave up. I kept trying and trying and trying and starting fresh and starting fresh and starting fresh. And I haven't made multiple millions of dollars. I'm not even to my first million. However, what I can tell you is that I am considerably more successful than I would have been if I had the mindset of not everybody gets to become rich, therefore I won't do anything at all. And it bothers me when I see that mindset pushed constantly, because yeah, you're right. Not everybody in the world is going to become rich. But here's the thing. If you use that as an excuse to not do anything, then you're going to get a lot less further than you would if you stop thinking like that. And yeah, obviously... let's see, somebody said, can you get rich without exploiting other people? 100%. 100% you can. If you have the ability, would you, wow, that is a page. Would you rather spend time and money learning something properly, say getting a degree in internship, or just start doing it? The latter. This entire channel is just start doing it. I left college because I couldn't pass chemistry. And now I do this. You know, I don't have an electronics engineering degree. Just start doing it. Roy Hendrickson in Avatar Studios, who was the chief engineer there, told me when I was 18 years old, there's nothing college can teach you that you can't learn on your own if you really want to learn it. How true that is, I don't know. But I took it to heart, and I thought of that every time I was doing what I was doing. Can you get rich without exploiting other people? 100%. Let's say you go to a landfill, right? And there's a bunch of crap in that landfill that people threw away. Or a bunch of recycled shit, right? And you take the time to fix that stuff, and you actually make a business out of fixing all that stuff. And then you sell it to other people who otherwise would not have been able to afford to buy that stuff new, and you become rich. Did you exploit anybody by going to a recycling center and grabbing shit that was otherwise thrown away? No. There's a lot of ways that you can make money without exploiting people. You can become rich without exploiting people. There are people that do become rich by exploiting people, or they do some exploitation, but they do some good for the world. You know, but there are too many people that just think anybody that is rich got there by exploitation, and I think that that's nonsense. There are also people that just define the very basic concept of offering somebody employment as exploitation, which I think is bullshit. Because there's a reason that people choose to be employed rather than start from scratch and deal with all the risk involved in starting something from nothing. There's a sense of security that you get when you get to start a job and make $25 an hour without having to take on the risk, without having to deal with, you know... I mean, for the first, 6 months that I was doing what I did, I don't think I made more than $400 a month. Like, that sucked. I mean, a lot of people just don't want to do that. They just want to be able to, and I was working 12 to 14 hours a day. A lot of people, they just want to walk in and just start getting paid and not have to worry about all that shit. I'm an independent IT consultant, and I do make in excess of 100K, also with no training. Just show up on time, never leaving early, never overpromise. That's not horrible advice. Show up on time, don't leave early, and don't overpromise. Not overpromising is really difficult as a technology professional. Buy or build an e-bike? Build. If you had a shop in the Midwest, I bet you'd be a millionaire by now. The cost of living is cheaper. It's not about the cost of living being cheaper. I'd also have a lot less business. I've walked into a lot of shops in the Midwest, and they are, they do not have the line out the door that we have here. Origin story. Lewis couldn't pass chemistry, so instead of joining Walter White, he set up a MacBook repair shop instead. Okay, that's funny. That makes up for your previous comment. I can agree with what you said about New Hampshire, but I'm looking to move to Rhode Island. It just seems like the situation is the same. Any other states are similar on the East Coast. Yeah, that just kind of makes me sad. I get that when I drive through Massachusetts, it's the same thing. Like, so much of that state, I don't understand why it's so expensive, because so much of it is crumbling, literally crumbling. Thank you very much, Mr. Pig. I appreciate that. What company did you get your gray shirt from? It looks comfortable. I think I got this from some Uniqlo because there was a coupon code that I had that allowed me to pay way less than whatever they were asking for. Do you despise people without self-determination? Not at all. I don't despise people without self-determination. I despise when they make it contagious. That's one of the problems that I have with the MGTOW movement. Because like there's a lot of what people say in the MGTOW movement that makes sense to me, where I can say, I agree with you, I understand what you're saying, all of that makes sense. But then there are people that will say all the things about the MGTOW movement and it'll make sense. And then there are people that will go the extra step to discourage young people from trying to engage in meaningful relationships with women because they made bad choices in their own life and chose the wrong women for the wrong reasons. And that pisses me off. Like, I don't mind if you lack self-determination. I don't mind if you have these views. Just don't try and convince young people that it's not worth trying because of your life experience. What was it like working for the first time without a supervisor? Very freeing, but also very scary. The thing that was scary is, okay, I don't have a supervisor, but I'm spending my own money on these things, and I don't know if the 12 hours a day that I'm putting into what I'm doing is actually going to get me anywhere. So it's really difficult when you have that uncertainty that causes this constant anxiety in your head. And you have to have this greater vision that you're working towards that allows you to get past the anxiety. That makes you feel like everything I'm doing is worthless. Any book recommendations for younger folks? I really like Jim Camp's Start With No. It's a good book. What are the traits that tell you a possible employee has potential? Somebody who is humble, takes pride in what they do, and isn't an asshole. Those three things usually work. What is a good way to start practicing soldering? I wouldn't want to start in consumer electronics too early. What I would do is I would buy old consumer electronics. You know, again, you don't have to practice on an M1 MacBook. Get an Acer 5517. Buy 2 or 3 of them. And what you do is you just take a chip off of it, like turn it on. You see that it works. Again, you can get an Acer 5517 probably like $50 on eBay. You take a chip off and then you put it back on. Does it still work? Cool, you know how to do that. Now you go from doing a resistor to doing, let's say, an 8-legged BIOS chip. Then you go from doing an 8-legged BIOS chip to a QFN. Then you go from a QFN to a BGA, and so on and so forth. And each time it turns back on, you get that little kick of dopamine that I didn't break it. And those little kicks of dopamine each step of the way are going to fuel you to be able to continue doing what you're doing. Are you a nihilist or a realist? I'm not a nihilist. I don't like nihilism very much. I think one of the reasons one of my favorite games is Final Fantasy IX is because the entire story is a rejection of nihilism. Yeah, the entire story in Final Fantasy IX is a complete rejection of nihilism, in my opinion. And I really enjoy that game. Like, everybody in that game has their paths aligned towards a shared mission and purpose that ends up providing meaning to their life beyond their wildest dreams against a nihilistic and destructive human being. And it's pretty deep for a kid's game. I think that Final Fantasy IX was very deep for a kid's game. It goes over duty versus morals, the tragedy inherent to mortality, the cost of overwhelming narcissism and vanity and ego to yourself and the world around you, the value of shared purpose, what it means to be human, and above all, that nihilism is absolute garbage. I love that game. But I'm not much of a nihilist. Life has a purpose. You got to make one for it. I don't give a fuck about hardware certifications, and I can't say what your name is because you've chosen this ridiculous name for yourself that makes it impossible to say it out loud. But I don't care about hardware certifications. I care about whether or not somebody's able to do the job. And there are no certifications for this. Show me a certification for iPhone data recovery. Show me a certification for MacBook logic board repair. Like, that doesn't exist, you know? How do you deal with time pressure from priority tasks and the other non-priority tasks still need to get done timely? I try to make a list for my day and I separate it into 15 to 30 minute segments, but I'll allot 15 minutes to a task that should reasonably only take you maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And what I find from doing that is that it's very easy to recognize how much time I waste in a day, how much time I waste looking at a phone or having conversations that really don't make any sense to have. One sec, I got to plug in this camcorder because the shit's almost dead. And I noticed that it causes me to waste a lot less time. One moment here. Just going to plug in the camcorder. Here we go. Hopefully this doesn't turn off the video. One way to find out. Let's see how Sony designed this thing. This proprietary plug that Sony uses is really, really annoying. My God, I never noticed how stupid this thing is. Holy. There we go. Bada bing. Alright.
Oh, sweet mercy.
There we are. Thank you, Chris Tyrell. And yes, it is plugged in. Beautiful. I'm not religious, Kai Worthwine, but I don't really have any problem with other people who are. I don't look down on them for being religious. And, you know, again, spending an hour each week to try and focus on what people think they did that was wrong and how they can be a better person and, you know, socialize with their community and have a sense of shared morals in community. I really have nothing. I don't have any snark for people that are religious. I'm not religious, but again, I understand the purpose that it serves for a lot of people, and I don't look down on them, you know. I haven't played Final Fantasy IX with any mods. I actually used the game Final Fantasy IX to describe the concept of having a sense of meaning and purpose to someone that I had dated a while ago who said they don't think that there is any sort of grand purpose for their life. They just work as a means to be able to relax and leisure and do nothing. There was something about that that seemed so fundamentally unattractive to me, and I couldn't put my finger on it until later. I couldn't put my finger on what made it so unattractive to me at the time that I heard it. How could you not want to change the world in some way, shape, or form? Even in just your own small corner of it. Even if you're just a janitor. Just, you know, just being able to brighten people's day or make them happier or clean things in a way that they didn't notice, you know, clean something they didn't even notice was dirty or something in a way that would make people have a slightly better perception of their day. You know, whatever it is that you do, you should do it with the idea that you're going to change the world for the better in a small way. There was this one person that wanted to not buy my business. He wanted to pay me $80,000 to close back in 2012. And he said, you know, you're not going when I declined it, and he was being very cynical, you know, you're not going to change the world through computer repair. I mean, it's been 10 years, and that's obvious. I mean, I think I've turned that statement on its face. I think there's a lot of people that have learned how to do board repair from this channel, that learned it was possible, that started their own business as a result of it, and like the whole right to repair movement, that's really about so much more than just computer repair at this point. It's about appliances, automobiles, tractors, the concept of control, who owns your device, who owns you, who owns your ability to do what you want with what you own. I mean, everybody should be trying to change the world in their little corner of it, or just trying to make it just a little bit better. You know, you don't have to change everything. You don't have to massively restructure society, but just trying to make your corner of the world suck a little bit less. That's what makes life worth living. What is your current health status? I have 900 HP and 200 mana. Are there any updates in the John Tester sponsored bill? I have no updates. Well, they did meet with one of his staffers today. I believe Kevin O'Reilly from US Perg met with one of his staffers today, right outside the Capitol building. Let's see. I will change the world. I don't know the direction. Oh, IDRC? What is IDRC? That doesn't sound like a word to me. What is CTHULHU? Why am I reading Twitch? You guys never make any sense. I wish Twitch made sense more often, but it never does. It's just weird emojis, like God of Goddesses posted some weird gray thing that's just like some random low pixelated face. What the hell are you guys on about? You guys always wonder, why don't I read Twitch chat? Because it's always this bullshit. All right. Oh, it's a silly acronym, Oscar. What a silly acronym. Is perfect the enemy of good? Yes. Yes, I have a video on perfectionism from a long time ago. It's so old that my hair is actually blackened. Oh man, this is back from when my hair was actually... Wow. Look at my hair color in this video. Look at my hair color. My hair was black in that video. My God. That was a long time ago. And I had so much more of it. I agree for the most part. I have looked at the Steam Deck, and I think I have 2 videos on it, Ridiculous Box. I wouldn't buy a Steam Deck simply because I'd have no need for a handheld console. Not because I don't think they're doing a good job with the product. It's just I have no need for a handheld gaming console at this point in my life. I tend to agree with you, Avid Tuber. I can't answer the same question more than 1,000 times, VB. It gets fairly old, and it's kind of pointless at this point because it'll never stop. I don't think you can fire somebody for that, Jason. I think with that, Mike, you're never going to actually be able to have, like, you can be a protected class under the ADA or something else, but you don't have to fire somebody for having autism. If you were an asshole and you wanted to fire somebody for being autistic, what you would do is you would come up with a very specific particular job, you would point out the very superficial ways in which they failed to do it to your standards, and then write them up for that and then fire them. But again, that's an asshole thing to do. Should have gotten a Keep sponsorship in earlier. Could have kept your hair for free. I don't think that shit doesn't work. Does that shit really work? Do you think we are going in the right direction? Any news regarding right to repair from Europe? I have no news on right to repair from Europe because I am not European. I am not European, no sir. What could possibly change your mind so you would want to go back to New York City? I don't know. I just think I'm over it. I think that, like, I don't think that it was ever the right place for me to begin with. I think it was a great place to build a business. I think it was a great place to try building a business from nothing. There was a lot of opportunity there. Again, like, running into some random person that loans me a large amount of money in a recording studio. Like, this is the kind of weird shit that really just kind of only happens in New York City. Because he's jealous of a comment that was made by a homeless dude that was sleeping on the couch that watched the studio. Like the kind of crazy shit that happened there. It's just, but I don't know. I was never a party person. I was never a bar hopping person. I was never some person that's like using Tinder every night to find a new woman or whatever. It's like I wasn't making use of what New York City has to offer. I was making use of the business stuff it had to offer, but I wasn't making use of the rest of it. Now that my business kind of, had its heyday and my business went up all the way up and now it's kind of back on the downswing, going back down. And I kind of had that experience. So I don't really think I would have that. My email has been public for a long time, Sheila. Lewis at fighttorepair.org. If anybody wants to have me on to talk about right to repair, email me. Lewis at fighttorepair.org. I will check it all the moment that I finish the stream and then get done with a nap. You see Linus's video where he had to use all of his strength to pull the cord out of Apple's new monitor. I did not see that. Have you considered relocating to Florida? I have. Yes, I have. I've checked out Jacksonville twice, and I may check it out a third time. Don't you think the reason why companies don't want people to tamper with the products is related to the fact that some users will get hurt tampering with it and then sue the manufacturer? No, I think that's a giant excuse, because if that were the case, then we would have never had repairability ever. I think that's a bullshit excuse. I really think it's a bullshit excuse. I don't think that they would win. I think that if they put enough disclaimers in the package, that they would get. We've had a culture of repairability in this country for a really long time. Like, how many people are suing Ford because they changed their brake pads and the car didn't stop properly? It's not a thing. It's not a thing. Lewis, come to Florida. We would love to have you, says Claire Murphy. What part of Florida are you in, Claire? Where would you suggest I check out? I was looking at Jacksonville. I like Southern Florida for the Hollywood section, but Southern Florida is kind of like New York. And it's also as expensive as New York. Can you name the cheap laptop you mentioned earlier for practicing repair? An Acer 5517. But it's not like you need that particular model. I was just thinking of a cheap piece of shit from 10 years ago. Bulk is not bulk is the expensive part, isn't it, Claire? At what point should one go from creating interest groups to actively lobbying for a cause they believe in? Do the ends justify the means to you? I mean, there's different ways to lobby. You know, there's lobbying as in you donate a bunch of money to a particular candidate's campaign and then, you know, or try to influence them into doing something. And then there's just lobbying as in let's try to get as many people as possible to understand why this issue matters and understand how this is going to be increase the likelihood of them being elected. Like, I don't have enough money to contribute to people's campaigns in a meaningful way. I'm not doing any of that kind of lobbying. There's different types of lobbying. Your videos helped me. Thank you, Bugly Boy. Could grab basically any electronic to practice. Plenty of relatively new stereos of QFN, SOP. I'm sure some even have VGA. Cool. Wish you were on Twitter. I'm happy I don't use Twitter very much. Thank you, LA On Air.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Madison, Wisconsin wants you too. Ben Heck collapse on the regular. Maybe Brookfield, Wisconsin. Is it true that I don't really understand that. That doesn't make any sense to me. That makes no sense to me at all. Thank you, Mike. I think it'll get worse. Hello there. I have a lot of optimism in general, but I don't have much optimism for the New York City. How are you enjoying spring in the new town? I haven't spent much time in spring there. Spring just kind of started, and I've been traveling a lot outside of that town. Florida, Westy West? I'd say Florida. We all need a nap, as Rich Chow. Try to train your soldering on creating simple toys. Motor from DualShock, battery pack switch, tennis ball, and bang, you have a shaky ball for your cat or your kid. That sounds scary. When you leave DC, take a shower because you don't want to contaminate your new home outside of DC. No, I just kind of feel like I'm visiting New York City with political history tourism attached. I do use Linux on my ThinkPad, Kumikora. Thank you, Vandal. Do you do any amateur ham radio personally? I don't. I never got into it. Hello, JP. How are you? I'm in Milton, Florida, but in your case, I suggest Pensacola because for the most part, it's pretty well centralized. I never visited Pensacola, but I should. Amir, because they treat their customers very, very, very poorly. And they treat repair shops very, very, very poorly. But all of that stuff you could find by watching the channel. I don't think you're actually interested in an answer to that question, because if you wanted an answer to that question, you'd watch my stuff. Enjoy the writing, Anne. Thank you for stopping by. I use Ubuntu because I'm lazy, Cubicle Nate. I don't remember, Red Robin. I don't remember stuff like that. I don't rank things like that for memory purposes. I've never been to the UK, Peter Jordan. I don't know, Henry McCanns. I was hoping it would be a little bit more talk about right to repair, a little less of the culture war stuff, but it's not my show. Because they explode, Frederick, and they lie about what they're giving you. They said they were giving me Samsung 35E cells because I paid them extra money and they gave me garbage. I don't make fun of Jacksonville much, Aaron. I would not do that, Aaron Paris, because that sounds miserable, and I don't think one person would have the ability to make a difference. I think it's up to the people there to make a difference, and the culture to change to make a difference. But that's not something that one person has the power to do, and I don't think that I would have the ability to do that as a mayor. Yeah, that's probably true, Zivikins. But it's going to be filled with the ones that were fed up enough to leave, so they may have different mentalities. I don't know what GPT-3 is, I'm not very good with acronyms. You help by getting other people to be excited about repair, Westy West, by you get them personally invested by either helping them with a repair they would have otherwise not been able to do, so that they could save money, or showing them how to do it as a profession. That's been my approach, get people personally invested. Then, if that's true, then you would have the answer to your question, Amir, without even asking. I don't know what my IQ is, Lajosi. It's probably the same as the temperature in this room when measured in Celsius. Some farmers, Fredicus. I was shunned away from learning electronics in the 90s because I was told that the trade is dying and I would repair things in the future. You know, Ricky Began told me that. He was a great tech at Avatar Studios, and he said everything now is surface mount and it's made to not be repairable, so this is all going to be dead soon. There's no point. And all this surface mount stuff is not fixable. He only worked on things that were through-hole. That was in 2007. I mean, imagine if I took that to heart and believed it. I would be totally screwed right now. But he was a lot smarter than I was as a technician on the stuff that he worked on. You know, I learned a lot from him, and I used a lot of that here. I'm happy I learned a lot of that from him. I don't have to agree with everything somebody says to learn something from them. You know, I took the good, and then the part about there not being any point to working on surface mount stuff, I just left that aside. It wasn't bad, Anthony Ash. You can't underestimate the benefit it has to just offer your time to teach someone how to do something. Easily one of the best ways to win an ally. I really hope that when people like C.T. Wilson come out and say that my video that I did, or my testimony, or me responding to what he said to that person who was talking about right to repair, when he said that that was racist, what I hope is that there's enough people that I've saved thousands of dollars, or there's enough people that have made tens of thousands of dollars because of my video, that they're going to stand up and go, no, that's not true. I know Lewis. He taught me these things. He helped me get this job. He helped me save money when everybody else wanted to charge me a lot of money for a repair. That's not true. That's what I hope. You know, once you have enough people personally invested, the slander, it doesn't hit the same way. It doesn't work because you know that person. So when somebody tries to slander a movement or slander an individual, when you've been helped by that movement or individual in some way, shape, or form, and they ask nothing in return, that's what I hope wins in the long run. And I think I've been preparing for that for a really long time. Like, I've been preparing for that since 2012 or 2013 when I started putting up all this information for free and not leaving anything out of it. But we'll see. Again, like, you know, the rubber is really starting to hit the road now when it comes to slander on these issues and having to fight back against misinformation and garbage like that. And it's going to really come down to, you know, my conduct over the past 10 years and whether or not I have credibility with the majority of the people that are in the audience of the people speaking. I hope I do, but we'll see. No, I just got to keep working. Is a combination of regulation to foster right to repair and deregulation to foster greater competition what your movement is looking for? That's very, very vague, so I don't know how to answer that. What type of deregulation and what type of regulation? At the end of the day, what I'm honestly really looking for is not even about the legislative hustle or the legislative push. It is to get more people to understand this as an issue so that they want to create products that are actually repairable. So that when people work at these companies, it's not about even a law existing, it's just when they're asked to do something that's anti-right to repair, they just leave. Like if a restaurant owner told the employees, you know, by the way, don't let any black people in the restaurant, I think that we're at a point where in a lot of parts of the nation, the employees would just leave. They would just walk out. And I want there to be that same thing going on when Apple says, oh, but, you know, like, by the way, make it so that you know, nobody can buy the charging chips of this computer. So they have to bring it to us for a $1,500 repair when they have a $2,000 computer instead of down the street for a $100 repair to somebody else. I want everybody on the engineering team to just leave. Like that, you know, I want people to understand this as an issue regardless and act on it regardless of what the law is. And that means getting and the people that got into repair by watching, or got into electronics by watching random crap on this channel that then got engineering degrees, like, that's the idea. You're cutting on my end. Not much I can do about that. I'm streaming from a hotel. This is hotel Wi-Fi, baby. Hotel Wi-Fi. Besides iPad Rehab, any other YouTube channels, I would check out STS Telecom with Jason, Jesse Cruz at VCC Board Repairs, Tim Herman at TCR Circuit. Would you do a collaboration with Wendell at Level 1 Techs? Sure, I just don't really know what they are. I'm not really good at creating stories or fake scenarios to collaborate with other YouTubers. I don't mind doing interviews with people, but like, I'm not good at, you know, coming up with random reasons for random content. It's never been my thing. I mean, it's never coming up with specific scripted reasons to have a collaboration with somebody. Your internet has gone sucky. Yes, it's hotel internet. That's what you get. Hotel internet. Someone down the hall is probably watching some porn. There's a good chance that somebody down the hall is watching porn right now. Not much I can do there. C-272 in Canada. Haven't heard about it. An act to amend the Copyright Act, diagnosis, maintenance, or repair, Parliament of Canada. What's this? What's this about? The enactment amends the Copyright Act in order to allow the circumvention of a technological protection measure in a computer program if the circumvention is solely for the purpose of diagnosis, maintenance, or repair of a product in which the program is embedded. It also allows the manufacture, importation, distribution, sale, renting, and provision of technologies, devices, or components used for diagnosis, maintenance, or repair of such products. This sounds like a step forward. This sounds like the Canadian version of getting rid of Section 1201 of the DMCA in the United States. No, I'm with it. I haven't read the bill in its entirety, but like, if that summary is actually what the bill is about, then I'm with it. I'm surprised the Green Movement hasn't gotten behind the right to repair. They have. They testify in almost every state every time a right to repair thing comes up. It's just nobody cares, unfortunately. Decreased useful lives and devices contributes greatly to pollution. Yep, and they always show up to testify about right to repair, and everybody up there checks their cell phone and ignores them and doesn't care. It's unfortunate. You can always buy that stuff with it, Brian. You just convert it immediately back into dollars. Why is your business past peak? I don't know. I'm not good at running it. Like, my business kind of peaked in September of 2019, and then I thought, oh, wow, business is going up. I should rent a place that allows me to fit more people and better fit equipment in it. And then right after that happened, it went down. So business went down at the same time that I almost tripled my rent after spending a lot of money to get everything set up at the new location, which is a giant fail. So that's that. I don't know. I'm not an amazing business person. You know, like I wish I could say I was the type of business person that just knew innately how to make my business 3 or 5 times as successful or profitable, or to get 5 times as much revenue over the next year, but I'm not, you know. I'm just kind of winging it as I go. So that's just life. I made a dumb decision. I got to live with it. You deal with it and you move on. Have you used the Amscope SWA 3B13? What the... No, I don't know what that is. Let's Google it. What is this thing? It looks very similar to the one that I use, but I don't know what makes it different. Oh, what are a 3x object? No, I haven't used that. I have not used that. I've used the SM4TP and the similar ones to that. Thank you, MB. I'd say Lewis is more of a guest for the channels that do talking head podcast format versus episodic content. Yeah, I definitely don't know how to do episodic content. I'm not creative enough to do that kind of thing. Do a speed test in the hotel. Nah, too much work. You guys don't need to see me anyway. This is mostly audio. Did it peak before the pandemic? Pretty much. Do you find entrepreneurship is a lonely journey? Yes, in my opinion, it is, because in the beginning, when you have an idea, everybody, like, nobody's there. When you're making $400 a month and working 12 hours a day, nobody's there. Nobody cares. They all think you're an idiot. Then the moment that you're successful, they say, oh, well, you know, you were just, you know, obviously it was going to become successful, so, you know, we don't give you any credit for any of that stuff you did at the beginning, because you knew this was going to happen. But those are the people that were laughing at you in the very beginning and saying you were an idiot for quitting a real job. You know, I think entrepreneurship is lonely because you have a lot of, because nobody's actually there. Nobody wants to help you. Nobody wants to get on board. And because it would be ridiculous to actually want to be a part of something like that in the very beginning. And then when you actually develop it into something, then people just walk in and say, well, why can't I get a share of the business? Why is it not a workers' co-op? Why are you a boss or a manager? And it's like, where were you? Where were you 10 years ago? But it was very lonely in the beginning. Have you considered hiring somebody whose primary job is to grow your business? I haven't, because there's no such thing. None of those people are no fix, no fee. Here's what I found when it comes to marketers, social media people, SEO people, advertising people. None of them are no fix, no fee. Even if they don't get you more business, they still want the money. So I have not been open to doing that, because I don't want to deal with paying somebody that doesn't, like, I don't want to, I just don't want to pay somebody like that when I've had so many negative experiences when it comes to marketing, SEO people, advertising people, social media people, anything like that, where, like, I'm no fix, no fee. If I can't get your data, like 99% of the time, you don't pay me shit. Only if it's a super advanced case and the deposit typically only covers the cost of parts to begin with. For laptop repair, anything I do, no fix, no fee. But all the people involved in doing that, they're not no fix, no fee. They'll just happily milk you for a really long period of time. And if you're not getting results, well, you just got to pay me longer. See, that's why you got to keep paying me, so that you'll eventually get the result. I'm not with it. You have a regular customer price and a rude customer price? No, I don't. I just try to avoid rude customers. I tell them to go to the Apple store. I usually tell the rude, and the people at the store are able to tell rude customers to go to the Apple store. What advice do you have for recent graduates right now? None. You know what I think of that drone, dude. Only one, Tony. I had one person ever quit to do that. And he messaged me for the next 7 years on and off asking to come back. And that was it. I don't really care. Honestly, are you kidding, Sad Dane? He hates marketing and advertising almost as much as he hates dealing with people. That's hysterical. I mean, honestly, if somebody here winds up able to start their own business and make more money, I wouldn't be mad at them. I'd be happy for them. Because, like, the people that I hire, I always have this sense of shame that I'm not able to pay them more than I do. So if somebody here who was actually good at their job quit and wound up starting their own business and making more money, I'd be happy for them. Like I had 2 employees in the past that had their own side businesses doing this, and I used to sell them parts at cost. Like if you're able to make your own money, if you're able to make more money off of these parts that I have here than I'm able to make to pay you, then yeah, sure, I have no problem with that. If I'm buying 200 of these at a time and you need 2 or 3 of them, I don't mind selling it to you at cost. I want to see the people that work here make more money. If that's with me, great. If that's not with me because I suck as a business owner and I'm not able to get the requisite increased business to be able to pay them more and they are able to make their own money somewhere else, then I'm happy for them. A lot of people tend to assume my mood, and 99% of the time they're incorrect, Joe Vlogs. Let's see. Stud, it was a quick moving show. There was one point that went over something with BlackRock, and I wanted to go over why I didn't think that that was a story, but I never got the chance to because they moved on. I don't know. It's their show. You know, like I'm not going to demand time on their show. Like it's their show. They want to discuss issues on their show that they want to talk about. And, you know, I'm not going to like bulldoze their own show. I think that's going to be very difficult, Jake, because we're behind by several decades. I don't know, Waka Maka. I don't know how I would test the stuff when it's done. Like when I'm done fixing a MacBook board, I put it back in the MacBook and I test it. But if I get an electric vehicle board, how do I know that the car is going to drive properly with it? I don't have any that I strongly believe in because I have not taken the time to forensically analyze any of them to be able to understand what they do and how they spend their money well enough to know. When it comes to charity, I tend to keep my charity to people that I know or people who are friends of people that I know rather than giving it away to somebody far away where I don't really know exactly what they're doing with it. Like I would rather, if there's, you know, I don't know, a friend of a friend that I trust and he, you know, he got hurt or lost his job, like, you know, here's a couple of months of rent, do that, then, you know, give $50 to some random charity. You can't write it off on your taxes, but like, that's not the point of giving to charity, in my opinion. I don't know. I think B&H has a decent business model. I don't know how they make money at the prices they sell a lot of things with how much money it costs to have a physical store in New York City. But they're doing it. So something's working. What do you think about laptops having different charging ports per model versus Android phones having USB-C? It would be cool if more of them had USB-C, but I imagine that there's some inherent limitations when it comes to really high-powered devices. Thank you, Tony. Has your recent building spot doing okay? The building seems to be fine. I guess, you know, they're doing some gas work in the building, but otherwise it seems to be it has stayed up. I don't have any desire to convert a Humvee into an EV, Blue Freaker. It's not my... I have heard about Fairphone. I haven't gotten excited about it because you can't buy a schematic. You can't get a schematic to it. So it's kind of... Like when I made those t-shirts that said schematics or die, a lot of why I had that slogan was so that it would be really difficult for me to compromise and go back on it later. And I really don't want to compromise or go back on it later. I don't think much of Crispin Perillo because I haven't ever watched his stuff besides when Eli the computer guy mentioned him once 9 years ago. I like the Framework laptop and I had a 1.5 hour video on it. I think it's a lovely little machine. Once, after championing right to repair 4.3 screens, yes, but even better than a 4.3 screen is a 3.2 screen. It's sad that that is enough to differentiate a vendor, Jetty Dashun, but I guess the standards are low nowadays. This is the ThinkPad P50. I got this laptop about... When did I buy this thing? Yeah, this thing is almost 6 years old. Yeah, this thing's almost 6 years old. It's got a couple of cracks on the side, but I like it. It's decent. I don't really do collaborations, Avid. I don't make... collaborations on YouTube 90% of the time are based on coming up with some random false premise for two people to be on camera together. And it's going to be so awkward if I do that because I have no sense of creativity there. I don't know, Francois. I don't know. I am not going to have a MacBook, Justin. That is not something I'm doing. Nope. If you were to upgrade, would you get a framework laptop? I would strongly consider it. I had one before, but it got stolen when I left my bag at this place for a half an hour. Some jackass said it was his bag and took it. It was my fault for leaving it there. It was also my fault for living in New York City. Admittedly, I should take fault for both of those things, because both of those things contributed to that happening. What's your opinion on employees leaving with 2 days' notice in the perspective as a business owner, as a person looking to have a much better opportunity? I mean, listen, if there's a much better opportunity out there, I would ask the new place, is it at all possible? Here's what I would do. I would ask the new place, listen, I know you want me to start working in 2 days. Is there any way you would be able to give me 2 weeks just so that I can be good to my old employer? Because, listen, I want to be able to give you the same benefit. You know, if somebody comes along and makes a better offer, I would want to be able to offer you 2 weeks. So if you're not going to allow me that, then, you know, that just kind of seems weird. And then I would go back to the old employer and say, okay, I found a better job. Like, you guys are paying me $20 an hour. This new place is going to pay me $30. I don't want to leave you on short notice. Can you give me $30 an hour for the last 2 weeks so that I can give you proper 2 weeks notice? Because it honestly makes no sense for me to miss out on, it doesn't make sense for me to miss out on $800. Yeah, is that $800? 10 times 40. It doesn't make sense for me to miss out on $800 simply to be loyal to you. Like, I like you guys, but I got to pay my rent and my food bill, and see what they say. And then ask the new employer, will you be open to letting me have 2 weeks instead of 2 days of notice? And I would try to go from there. Try to be fair to both. It's surprising you say that, because both of them were based on weird premises. Like, one was an iMac that they broke themselves. They didn't need me to do that. Like, I don't even fix iMacs, to be honest with you. You know, other people at the store do. They just needed to unscrew a board and screw it back in. I'm a board repair technician. I'm not a reassembly technician. And the first video was literally just me grabbing some random crap from a pile so that I'd have something to do a BGA rework on, because I had no BGA rework to do that day, and that not actually working because I grabbed a board from the garbage pile. How about expanding your business to corporations? I mean, listen, if a corporation wants me to fix something, I'll fix it for them. I don't, like, if somebody calls, I don't go, are you a corporation? Oh, you are? Fuck you. But I just don't have any. We used to have a lot more school business than we did, but a lot of the schools that we were working with started doing the work in-house. The collaboration with Uncle Rich and Stefan was pretty funny. Yeah, that's because it wasn't a real collaboration. That's because it wasn't us sitting down together and coming up with some bullshit false premise to do a video on. It was us actually having a real conversation about something that's going on in the real world. It wasn't, okay, like a lot of YouTube when people come to me about YouTube collaborations, they say, okay, so what situation should we make up? Or like, what should we create for this video? And it's like, I don't want to create a fake situation. My channel is literally me living my life. So Lewis fixing a board. Lewis talking about a crappy customer experience that day. Lewis looking for a new store to rent. Lewis dealing with douchebag realtors. I don't know, like Lewis testifying in front of a committee for right to repair. Lewis riding his bike. Like this channel really, none of it is contrived or fake. It's really just the story of me living my life, which is why I'm surprised so many people actually ever watch this shit to begin with. So it's very difficult to come up with a collaboration thing. Whereas like with Rich or Jessa, it's just a natural flowing conversation about something, which is radically different. Would you rather have a mortgage for your house you need to repair, or live in an apartment where it's all taken care of? Depends on I don't know. I'd probably rather have a house, but depending on what the property tax is in the area. You have an inner monologue. I think I do. Can you collaborate with iJustine? What is an iJustine? That sounds like an Apple product. What is an iJustine? iJustine, American YouTuber. Oh God, what am I clicking on? Okay, never mind. This is safe. Okay, let's see. 2 cameras in one, new Mac Studio, display is unbelievable. See, something tells me that I'm going to find it unbelievable for radically different reasons than she finds it unbelievable. Call me nuts. I just think we're going to have a couple of differences in opinion. Yeah, I don't know. This is not a channel that's going to be interested in collaborating with me. No. This channel is not, like, it talks about accessories and how excited they are about accessories. Like, yeah, I'm not, listen, I'll have a conversation with anybody. I just, I don't. I've answered that question a million times, Toku, but not. How do you deal with indecisiveness with important life decisions? I've wind up making a decision regardless of whether it's the correct one so that I can make a decision and then regretting it for the next several years. YouTube collaboration with Lewis and Poria, where they road trip across the U.S. educating people on right to repair and proper cat feeding techniques. You're telling us this isn't pre-scripted. iJustine is an Apple product. Oh, man. If Lewis do a collaboration with iJustine on visiting the Apple Store, I think people's heads would explode. I think I would spontaneously combust if I entered an Apple Store. Buying ThinkPad because of you, Mr. Rossmann. Very cool, Wang Joni. Your videos make me genuinely happy and it got me through some tough times. Thank you, Mass Fusion. I don't know what I said or did that helped you, but if it did, I won't argue with it. Thank you. She's a consumer product reviewer who's friendly to companies. She doesn't do criticism. See, that's going to be a very interesting dynamic. That would be an interest. That would be a... Yeah, I don't know how that would work. April 1st, content visiting all Apple stores in an area in a single day. Yeah, that's kind of... that would be on the strange side, I imagine. So this quote, John Deere told the Copyright Office that farmers don't own their tractors, but rather receive an implied license for the life of the vehicle to operate the vehicle. What the fuck? That sounds like something that Deere would say. Where'd you see this quote? Let's search that. Oh yeah, that was 7 years old. That's from Wired, like 7 years ago. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. In Nebraska, there's still a bunch of people that voted against the bill, or voted against even doing anything with it, that were rural politicians that were endorsed by the Farm Bureau. That's so fucking pathetic. Let's see, where's my video on that? I did a video on that a few months ago. I kind of like stirring the pot there. I think the pot needs to be stirred there. So yeah, let's see. How many times have I done a video on this? Here we go. Nebraska farmers are getting effed. Here's how. I went over a little list. Yeah, I think I did a nice little... I think I put a bow on this. I went over all the people that didn't vote for the... And I went over how each of these people was endorsed by the Farm Bureau. Wait, that's the wrong window. Whoops. Why do I still have iJustine's page open? It's going to make me buy an Apple product. Run. Run. Here we go. Yeah, this video I went over the people that were endorsed by the Farm Bureau and the fact that those politicians made up random crap and voted against the bill. It's so sad. It's like, again, this stuff was happening like 7 years ago. They were making those statements 7 years ago, and 7 years later, here's where we are. I don't know. I try. I don't have any stickers, Alexandra. Alexandra. I don't know, Cubicle Nate. Is it a lot better than the old one was? If it is, then yes. If not, then no. I got to try one and see. If I was not in the repair business, I would have tried to become a therapist, but realistically speaking, I'm not smart enough to get out of college, so I probably would have flunked out of college many times and then went back to doing minimum wage retail. AT&T is still doing the free Galaxy S22 if you turn in any old Samsung phone to them. Is this a part shortage thing? Let's see. I think maybe the S22 just doesn't sell well. Does the S22 have a headphone jack? Let's see. Headphone jack, Galaxy S22. You literally couldn't give me that fucking piece of shit for free. Here, it was why. So ow, Jesus Christ. I have this microphone over here that I like to plug into my phone so I can do videos when I'm outside. I really like being able to do videos when I'm outside. So I used to have this little microphone. And, it plugs into the phone. It's my phone. You plug it in. And then you can kind of spin it around. And if you're outside and it's windy, you put this little piece on it like this. And now you don't hear the wind noise that you would hear with the phone's internal microphone. Also, since it's a shotgun microphone, what's really cool is that the shotgun microphone means that instead of picking up everything from all around you, it's only picking up what I want. So if I'm interviewing somebody, it picks up them. Or if I'm talking, even if I'm in a really noisy area, it's going to pick up me. So I use this little shotgun microphone, and it's a really great little microphone. The thing is, if you give me a phone without a headphone jack, I can't use this anymore. So if you sell a phone without a headphone jack, I'm not taking it, even for free. This phone is several years old. It's really beat up. It's scratched. After I replaced the battery, I didn't put the back on fully properly because I suck at doing that, so it's not really water resistant anymore. And if you were to give me a free S22 in exchange for giving you this several-year-old beat-up phone, I'm literally not doing it. Modern phones suck. It's a fucking downgrade. Like, again, so many of these phones are missing a micro SD card slot. They don't fit in my hand because they're massively large for people that are, I don't know, taking human growth hormone to get their hands to be the size of the Incredible Hulk. Or they don't have a headphone jack, so I can't plug this in. Or let's say I'm flying. Let's say, I don't know, hypothetically speaking, I'm visiting Dubai or UAE or something, and I'm on a flight that's 10 hours long, and my Bluetooth, my power goes out in this. What, I have to carry a fucking charge cable for my headphones and plug it in and then repair? Like, fuck that. I'll just put on a pair of wired headphones while I'm on the flight so that I have something I can listen to without having to worry about my battery dying. Modern phones are a downgrade. I mean, you couldn't pay me to take this shit. Seriously. Why would I pay for you to take features and functionality away from me and then give me a product that I can't even fit in my fucking hand? I don't even give a shit if AT&T is giving me the phone for free. I'm not taking it. I'm seriously not taking it. You're not getting this you have to pry this shit out of my cold, dead hands. And you're still not going to get it. I don't know if that answers your question, GLJ. Just a rant is all. It's not farmers, LT3005. It's politicians and the people that run the company that want that. Farmers do not want that. That is not what farmers want. Buy the Apple Studio display. You can't remove the power cord from easily. I don't want to buy that because the video of me talking about that will make me $20. And the monitor, let's see, how much does that thing cost? Let's see. Apple Studio display. How much does that thing cost? Holy, yeah, fuck that. Okay, so, yeah, that thing is... Buy. Oh, no way in hell. I'm not spending $1,600 on a product to do a video on it. No way. That video is going to make $30. Apple's Studio display has a removable cable held in place with a spring tensioner. However, Apple says it's not removable. That's fucking sad. What's the point of that? What the fuck is the point of that? I sent you a link to a Ulefone model with a headphone jack. Will AT&T give me a free one, Catherine? Rugged outdoor smartphone. Ooh. Ulefone Armor. Let's see, what do you guys got? Armor. Let's see, what do you guys make? This is the most expensive one, let's see. Okay, pretty water resistant. Thermal imaging camera, cool, I can detect shorts. Okay, let's see. Give me some ideas, some specs, some stuff, or... Not compatible with Verizon, Sprint, or AT&T. Oh, well then. That's going to be tough. Shipping. Oh, I really should get some sleep. Take a nap. This site is loading well on hotel Wi-Fi. Let's try specs. Holy, yeah, 6.3 inches. That is not going to fit in my hand. That's giant. Micro SD. Micro SD. SD. Okay, SD card up to 2 terabytes. That's cool. 3.5 millimeter. Here we go. Okay, so the one thing that sucks is that it doesn't fit in my hand. But it has the other stuff I'm looking for. Man, I wish this thing fit in my hand, though. What kind of battery do you guys use? Oh, 6,600 milliamp hours. That is sweet. That is sweet. Huh. This is kind of tempting. Ulefone Armor 9. How good is this processor? Is this a piece of shit? I'm kind of curious. I don't need the best camera. I don't really need the phone to have an amazing camera. I don't take much pictures with it. I use it for YouTube only. You guys don't need quality. The USB-C to 3.5 millimeter adapters aren't worth the insulation used in them. Yeah, fuck that. I'm not going to use an adapter. And the other thing, the point on it is, like, the whole point with this microphone is that it clips onto the phone. If you give me a USB-C to 3.5 millimeter adapter, you've defeated the whole fucking purpose. Just get out of here with that shit. LG putting good DACs in their phones. No, incorrect. No. So with the G8, they did something that didn't happen with the older phones that they made, where if you plug a microphone into it, it sounds tinny and trashy. It sounds like a broken mic preamp, and it's only with the LG G8, and other people have confirmed this. So LG's audio on their phones, in my opinion, is worse than everybody else's. I don't care about the output quality if the input quality is garbage. An HTC Incredible from 2010 has better input quality than an LG G8 that you buy at the store brand new. But they stopped making phones, so it doesn't really matter anymore. Get another battery, Vicoli. The problem is the batteries you're going to be able to get suck. Get an LG monitor, painted gray, boom, profit. You should watch the Clifford Land show. Linus rips Apple a new one for making an unremovable power cable on a $1,000 monitor. It'll probably just make me mad. You'll have enough storage and be happy. %, I'm still against it. Why do I care if you have USB-C wired headphones? Why do I care? What if I want to use my own headphones? I don't want to fucking buy new headphones because you guys decided to be dicks and remove a port. Also, why am I paying $800 for a flagship smartphone where you're going to like cheap out and remove things that cost 20 cents? Fuck you. If you were making a phone that costs $50, fine. Remove extra ports. I get it. You're making a $50 smartphone. You need to cut corners everywhere you can. This shit's $800. Explain to me why I should have to change my way of dealing with my technology in life because you fucks are too cheap to include that. And don't tell me it's because it saves space in the fucking phone because you clearly don't give a fuck about saving space. That's why you keep making phones that require me to take human growth hormone in order to fit in my hand. I remember when phones were 4 to 5 inches. Now they're 6.5 or 6.6 or 6.8 inches. I can't use a 6.8 inch fucking smartphone. How the hell am I supposed to use this shit? What, I'm supposed to start this, like, you know, getting my fingers elongated or something with surgery? No. The whole idea behind removing the jack is you have more space in the phone. But you've already made the phone way bigger than the last generation. How much space do you fucking need inside of a smartphone? And at the end of it, lastly, I want to be able to keep using my microphone. I like my microphone. This is a fine little microphone. I want to be able to keep using this. I see no reason to upgrade my device if the upgrade means that I have less capability than I did with my last generation. I can't stand modern smartphones. They're all shit. I have no interest in them whatsoever. None. Zero. Okay, let's say you have a USB-C version of the microphone. Now I have to buy a new microphone. And what do I gain from that? That's the thing. What do I gain? What are you giving me that is worth it for me to spend 50 or 80 bucks on a new microphone? And secondly, now you can't charge it and use the microphone at the same time. I've checked. None of these microphones that are USB-C have pass-through. So if I want to have this plugged in and I'm doing a really long stream, I can plug into an external battery. Or if I'm doing a stream in my car, I can plug this into my car. Or if I'm doing a stream on my bike, I can plug it into the charger I have on my bike. You know why I can do that? Because this phone has 2 ports. You know who can't do that? Somebody who bought a new flagship smartphone for $800 to $1,600. That's who. And if you have less functionality, why would I give you money? Why would I pay extra money to get less functionality? It makes no sense whatsoever. None at all. Yeah. I use it, ThinkPad P50.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Government, you want to have privacy and you'll be happy. New York City, you want to have housing and you'll be happy. Companies, you want to have repair options and you'll be happy. Gas companies, you want to have gas and you'll be happy. I don't know. It's sad how correct that it is right now. I quoted you on another video and I said you can't use too much flux. It's getting a ton of likes. Email it to me, lewis@rossmanngroup.com. I'm only 5'7". How am I supposed to hold a phone that's 7 inches? Exactly. Like first, it's bad enough that you have height. First, you have height requirements at Six Flags. Then you have height requirements on dating sites. Have you ever used Tinder or Bumble or Match or any of that shit? They have more fucking height requirements on that website than at Six Flags. Seriously. And now you have a height requirement to use a phone? How is a dude that's 5'6" supposed to get along in this world? Like the list of things that we're not able to do just keeps growing and growing and growing. When I was younger, I remember when my father took me to a Six Flags, and a lot of the rides required you were 4'6", and I was like 4'5" 3/4. I was very short for my age, and I wasn't able to go on half of the rides at that Six Flags. It was absolutely depressing. Then I get a little bit older. I go on a dating website. Oh shit, I'm 5'6". Sorry, need not apply to half of the profiles that I clicked on. Now, I can't even fit a smartphone in my hand. It's too much. No, the short people got to start pushing back. We got to start pushing back. I am not letting go of my S10e. You can pry this out of my cold, dead hands. All right. I agree, Matthew Swan, with your first statement, but I don't think you meant it that way. I am going to sleep the moment I finish this stream. In the last 2 days, I got a combined 8 hours or so. Both was $80 each, so I don't care for pocket computers much. True. What's your stance on human-monkey evolution? Don't really have one because, I don't know. I don't know what we came from. Evolution sounds more realistic than creationism, but don't ask me. I don't know what happened a few million years ago. Go into a time machine and find out. Haha, I'm 5'6". Yes, sucks. Let's see, I still think the 3.5mm port in my S10 on wired buds sounds better than my Bluetooth I listen to. As an added bonus, the battery in my phone also lasts longer than the Bluetooth buds. I agree with JP. How about we just pay a subscription fee to use our products? You already do. It's called buying a new one when the old one breaks every 2 years. I feel this. I have 2 smartphones, both with 80 each. I don't care for pocket computers much. We need phones with at least 2 Lightning USB-C connectors, one for power, one for headphones. That's more ports than an A1534 has. Retro Mac repair YouTubers speak of Rossmann amount of flux. That's funny. I hope they do good jobs with the repairs that they're doing and that their viewership learns from it and fixes more stuff. I hope they get more people into it. I'm short, but I guarantee you no one will be willing to flop one out and compare with me. What? Height requirements be crazier than Windows 11 minimum specs. You're telling me. It's okay, at least you go to the gym. My fella's 5'6" and hot AF and still 2 inches taller than me. Well, you're a different type of woman, Sheila Aliens, than many of the people that I've come across. And that's a good thing. I mean that in the best way possible. Short guys can do backflips. I can't do a backflip. Maybe that's what it is. Short people unite. We need to stand up for our rights. We need to stand up. We need to stand up on top of something, though, because we're short. That's the problem. Maybe stand up on top of a box, stand up on top of a crate, stand on top of a table. Why are uncommon Android-capable phones as cheap as comparable netbooks? Because phones have become a status symbol at this point. I think to some point, it's kind of like, it's like having a nice watch or a fancy wallet or a nice handbag. Like if you buy a cheap one, it just has that feeling to it for a lot of people. For me, it's the exact opposite. I don't give a shit if my phone costs a lot of money. I got this thing for under $300, and the only reason I even bought this instead of buying some Motorola piece of shit for $100 is because I use the camera sometimes for YouTube, so I figured I shouldn't have the worst possible camera. But even that, it's like, I don't know. Like nobody watches this channel for quality. They watch it for, I don't know, man yells at camera or whatever. So it's not really even a point in having that level of quality. I'm 5'7" and hold something 7 inches in my hand every day, says GLJ. Was your DC trip a success? A bunch of the farmers that signed up never actually showed up, but it is what it is. You miss 100% of the shots you don't make. Yeah. Climb a building and make your point known. King Kong. Short people rise up. Who cares about your size as long as you drive one of those monster machines from yesterday? Compensation? Is that what you're suggesting? Compensation? That'll fix it. Oh, that's funny. People need to lose interest in tech overall, smartphones especially, so the companies try harder. I don't disagree with you. Wow, this has been going for almost 3 hours. A short guy is a big guy, but compressed in 128-bit encryption. Okay, that's kind of funny.
Oh, sweet mercy.
If you fix my motherboard, I'll let you take me from behind, says Maria for $1. You're probably not a woman, though. You're probably some troll from 4chan that has Dorito dust on their fingers. I'll take your money, but I'm not. No. It is time for me to take a nap, isn't it, McLaren? Is Lewis about to show us the quirks and features of his new turbo diesel dually? I don't have a turbo diesel dually. I don't know, Gabriel. I haven't tried the new ThinkPads. I haven't had a reason to because this one hasn't broken yet, and I'm a cheapskate, and I don't buy new technology every single year. I am a technology enthusiast that buys something that works and then uses it until he kills it. I probably shouldn't be banging on my ThinkPad because it actually has a crack over here from falling off of a table, but short people avoid head injuries, knee injuries, and back injuries. Wait a couple of decades and laugh your ass off at your broken down tall friends. Nah, that's kind of mean. But I appreciate the humor. I appreciate the humor. I think newer laptops should still include a SATA port for cheaper storage expansion. Do you mean eSATA or actual SATA? Because most of the new ones are getting rid of it. Oh, I like SATA. Do you offer soldering repair courses for companies, field technicians? If you're talking about MacBook board repair, yes, we do. It's just like many other aspects of my business that has kind of dwindled down to shit. I'm 6'3". Let's make a deal. If short people take over the world, take care of us tall people. If tall people take over the world, we'll take care of the short people. Accessibility for all. I'd make that deal. I'd make that deal in a second. I am still rocking the ThinkPad P50, and it has all the scratches and bumps and look at like that. I think that fell off of a ladder over here. That fell off of a table. This thing just keeps on rolling. Honestly, the most surreal experience is the one I described earlier, where I got called racist by the delegate from the Maryland legislature because I pointed out that source code is not a part of the bill and that you're not going to get a virus because of source code. But that didn't have to do with lobbying very much. You're asking a guy who makes a living resurrecting that electronics who wants to buy new electronics, especially after he posted a video all about people making irresponsible purchases. I honestly don't fix a lot of my own stuff because after spending as much time fixing other people's stuff, I just want my stuff to work. So there are a lot of times where I've had a broken phone and I knew it just needed something very basic and I just bought another Motorola for $100 because I didn't want to fuck with fixing my own. Because like when you do that all day for everybody else, you just don't want to deal with it in your own personal life. I know, me too, once again, me too. Yeah, the problem with Linux that I have with it, Thor Summoner, is that suspend doesn't always work properly. When you close the lid, you can't, even if you hit the power button, it doesn't turn back on, but it's clearly semi-on because the lights are on. It has... I think more people are becoming aware of it recently, and it's happening at a far too slow a pace. Again, like we've been talking about this in the channel now for almost 10 years, and the progress that's been made legislatively has been nothing. And the progress that we've made culturally is something, but in terms of companies actually changing their practices, it really has gone not really happened much at all. So I think that progress is happening, it's happening way too slow, and that is, that's a problem. No, I didn't, Doubtseeker. I gave that thing away a long time ago. I agree with you, Noah. See, I have water. Well, I'll take that as a drink. Good drink. Thank you very much, Dustin. Super cool seeing you on Timcast, watching both of you for years. Thank you.
Oh, sweet mercy.
First time being able to attend your live stream, enjoying it. Thanks from Germany. Thank you. All right. Now I'm over here. Dr. Evil Genius showed up just in time for me to end my stream and get some sleep. I'm going to pack it in early. I am dead. Do you think Americans would fully adopt EVs if they were easy to repair and modify? I don't think it's about being easy to repair and modify. I think it's about them being able to make a road trip when costing less than $50,000. Like the Tesla long range Model 3 is over $50,000. That's bad. I mean, like people, you need $5,000 to $10,000 electric vehicles on the used market that actually are reliable, that have good range, and then like, again, it really comes down to money. I think that's what it comes down to. A lot of people don't buy things based on repairability. I know that for a fact because of the amount of people that walk into my store that have no idea, even in 2022, that MacBooks, like just how much work the company does to make their product not repairable. But it comes down, for a lot of people, it comes down to money. You can't have a product that costs over $50,000 and go, well, it must be that the repairability or maintenance that's keeping people from buying it. No, it's that the car is $50,000 fucking dollars. That's what's doing it. And yeah, you can buy a Nissan Leaf or something like that, that slow charges, that can barely make it from one charge station to another in rural parts of the country, but that's not, yeah. Thoughts on the inevitable rise of cheap robotaxi services in metro areas? Any effect on car ownership? Is it inevitable? Again, didn't Elon Musk talk about like full self-driving is going to come in the next few months, like years ago? Like, how inevitable is that really? It's going to be a long, long time. Fredericus, do you have a link? Yeah, I'll provide the link. So, I'll provide the link again for those who are curious. Okay, so this is the link to the delegate saying that I made a racist video, and then I will provide a link to the actual video where you can listen to exactly what I said and make the decision for yourself. That was fucking depressing. That was a low point in 7 years of advocacy. I wish you and Marquez Brownlee lectured me about right to repair at the same... Yeah, I'll take your dollar, but that's it. I didn't see it, Fredericarus, but I reposted it. That shit depressed the fuck out of me. But honestly, I learned a lesson from that I needed to learn, which is that the going along to get along thing is not working. The whole be nice and be kind and respect the protocol and blah blah blah, that is a giant waste of time. It's a giant waste of money. And people that dislike you or dislike your cause are going to slander you regardless of what you say and regardless of what you do. So I learned a really valuable lesson from C.T. Wilson. It was a very useful lesson, and I'm glad that I learned it. I needed to learn it sooner rather than later because there were certain things that I was, there were certain things that I wanted to talk about earlier and I didn't, and I bit my tongue. And I feel really foolish and stupid for the fact that I bit my tongue because I was told, what do you care more about? Do you care more about getting your actual bill passed, or do you care more about letting people know about something that you think is not fair or right? And the answer should have obviously been the latter, but I allowed people to convince me that the former was more important. And here's the thing, when you care more about the former, you get neither. If you care more about getting the bill passed and letting people know about a corrupt practice, then you don't get either. You lose both. It's kind of like the thing, those who would give up a freedom for temporary security deserve neither. It's not even about that. It's like you get neither. It's kind of like if you're willing to lose your integrity in the moment to make some more money, or if you're willing to give up your dignity in order to be with a woman or a man that is abusive to you, you get neither. In the end, not only do you not have your dignity, but you also don't have a relationship. It's the same thing. And I learned a lesson that, honestly, it's better that I learn this lesson now than I learn it later on. That sucks, Janogen Gethyswaran. I'm sorry, I can't read your name. I'm too American to be able to read your name properly. We don't know how to read here. We go to public school. But Pixel 3S bricking shortly at the end of 3-year support, that sucks, and I would never buy a fucking Pixel if that's what they're saying. I've had phones that lasted way, way, way longer than that are still usable, so that there's some bullshit going on there. As someone who likes to own his IC-powered car, I actually endorse alternate transportation methods, especially when it cuts demand for fossil fuels and potentially reduces traffic. I'm for it, too. So happy you're on, Tim Cass. Glad you made it there. Thank you, Max. I was furious when I saw that vid. I just want more people to see it. Yeah, it is what it is. I thought it was a low blow. Like, there's not really much that I can say against something like that in 2022. Again, like, like I'm a white guy in 2022. If somebody wants to use that word, there's not much that I can do. But it is what it is. I'm not putting effort in Maryland anymore. It's pretty much like that proved that is a waste of my time. I did my best effort. The lobbyist said, "Hey, he'll show up and apologize for his video if it would make you feel better," which honestly really doesn't make sense to offer because I don't think I did anything wrong in that video. I've watched this thing at least like 90 times at this point, and I can't figure out what in this video is that horrible. Like, I stand behind everything I said in this video, 100%. There's nothing I said in this video that I would not say again. But it is what it is. You live and learn. Electric is still more cost-effective per mile than gas, especially with the current prices. Yeah. Do you like granola? I do. Never apologize unless you believe you were wrong. True. Very true. Can you please post some of the people some of the times? Oh, you can please some people some of the time. You can never please all people all the time. All saying but true. Correct. I do like granola. I enjoy it. Have you guys ever fixed the CUS NAS storage? I don't even know what the cuz is. Okay, it's about time for me to go to sleep. I gotta get going. I gotta get out of here. Love those phones. Sadly, Dr. Evil Genius. But the thing about that is that it works. The thing about it is that it works very well. And what matters is winning. I hope they Retro Mac Repair people do a good job. Mac84TV says we try on his Discord channel. Hello to Mac84TV, and thank you very much for what you do, Mac84TV, and thank you for getting more people interested in the field of repair and opening up the minds of curious people and getting them to think, well, if that guy can do it, maybe I can too. That means a lot to me, and it means a lot to the people that subscribe to this channel. So keep doing what you're doing. True, Dr. Evil, true. Oh well, not much I can do. Okay, I gotta get going. What am I still doing here? It's almost 3 hours into the stream. Let's see. Okay, it's about time to get out of here. It's very interesting that my live channel, which is a throwaway channel, actually has almost the same number of live viewers as the main channel, which has 1.7 million. Poor little channel. Poor little main channel. I'll lay you to rest, little main channel. We had some good times together, you and I. We had some good times over these past 10 years. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much for showing up, and I'm going to take a nap, because I have not gotten a lot of sleep over the past few days, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now. No, I have commented on that, Christian. It's just I comment on it, and then people ask for it over and over and over again, so there's not really much